After my uncle died in a car accident, my cousin suffered severe mental trauma and came to my home to recuperate. She fell in love with my boyfriend, and everyone told me to give him up for her. Even my boyfriend said, she's already so pitiful, why are you making things difficult for her? Later, I was also in a car accident. While I was being resuscitated, my cousin sobbed in my boyfriend's arms. So many people care when she dies, yet no one notices me when I'm alive. I died in the operating room, and my cousin took my guaranteed admission spot and married my boyfriend. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the time when my cousin had just arrived at my home. Bitch, you killed my dad, and now you're stealing my boyfriend too. The moment I opened my eyes, a tremendous force pushed me against the wall. Mokur was holding scissors, about to slash my face. I instinctively resisted, pushing Mokur away. The scissors flew out of her hand as she staggered back several steps before tumbling down the stairs. Her hand was scraped, blood dripping down. Mokur simply sat on the floor, covering her face and sobbing uncontrollably. The surrounding classmates stopped and curiously turned to look in this direction. Song, what are you doing? The person rushing over is my boyfriend Jiangyu. He helped Mokur up from the ground. Are you okay? Following closely behind Jiangyu was my best friend Tang Xian. Seeing Jiangyu like this, she was furious. Jiangyu, are you blind? Mokur was the one who grabbed scissors first, trying to slash Song Yuro's face. Whose boyfriend are you really? Mokur can't tell, but you should know better. Perhaps Tang Xian's voice was too loud, as Mokur seemed startled, shrinking into Jiangyu's arms and crying even harder. Jiangyu frowned. Tang Xian, you know about Mokur's condition. After her father's sudden death, she developed severe psychological issues. How could you provoke her at a time like this? Don't you have even basic compassion? As if sensing protection, Mokur timidly tugged at Jiangyu's sleeve and stubbornly repeated, "You're my boyfriend." Jiangyu patted Mokur's head and said in a soothing tone, Mokur was satisfied. She glared at me and said triumphantly, "If I see you talking to Jiangyu again, I won't be polite." Jiangyu sighed. He gave me an apologetic look, then scooped Mokur up in his arms. "Your hand is injured. I'll take you to the hospital first." How familiar this scene was. In my past life, I also watched Jiangyu and Mokur leave like this. Back then, just like Tang Xian now, I was furious but utterly helpless. After all, Mokur was truly pitiful. My aunt passed away while giving birth to her, and she was raised by her uncle, who then died in a car accident during her senior year of high school. As a result, Mokur suffered severe psychological trauma and began experiencing intermittent episodes. To take care of her, my mother brought her to live with us. At first, I gave Mokur everything she wanted. When she asked for my room or my clothes, I agreed without hesitation, until one day, Jiangyu came to visit our home. He's the heartthrob of our school and also the young master of the Jiang group. Mokur fell in love with him at first sight. "Sister, please give Jiangyu to me." I rejected Mokur, but after that, whenever Jiangyu was mentioned, she would become somewhat hysterical. She started believing that Jiangyu was her boyfriend, and that I was the other woman trying to steal him away. Whenever she saw Jiangyu going on a date with me, she would cry bitterly and even cut herself with a small knife. Later on a rainy night, when Jiangyu and I were watching a movie outside, she frantically called me, saying she had been kidnapped. I rushed over in a state of panic and got into a car accident on the way. During the emergency treatment, my soul seemed to detach from my body and float outside the operating room. Mokur was sobbing while curled up in Jiangyu's arms. I was just joking. I never thought she'd take it seriously. If Sister Yuro died, so many people would remember her. But while I'm alive, I only suffer. No one has ever cared about me. Jiangyu couldn't help but hold her tighter. Who says no one cares? You still have me. After my death, Mokur's mental state seemed to improve significantly all at once. She recognized my parents as her own, took over my guaranteed admission spot, and went to Tsinghua University with Jiangyu. During Qingming Festival, she burned joss paper for me and my uncle. "Dad, cousin, thank you for making this possible. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even have gotten into a junior college. How could I be where I am today?" At that moment, my soul was suddenly awakened. Mokur was never ill. It was all just an elaborate scheme. A clear female voice came from beside me. "Do you want to start over?" Without hesitation, I replied, "Yes." When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day Mokur first transferred to our school. Watching Jiangyu about to carry Mokur away, I suddenly strode forward and said in a deep voice, "Jiangyu, we're breaking up." Jiangyu's expression changed instantly. He frowned and said, "Yuro. don't be rash, I'm serious, I said calmly. If you want to take care of Kuer, then take good care of her. Moreover, after speaking, I turned and walked away without looking back, ignoring Jianyu desperately calling my name behind me. 3. After school, I called Tang Xian to the coffee shop. Does your father know someone in the traffic police department? I want to investigate the truth about my uncle's car accident. My uncle was an experienced truck driver. That day, everything seemed completely normal, yet he drove straight into a bridge pier. After hearing me out, Tang Xian got goosebumps. Are you suggesting his death might not be accidental? I remained silent. Uncle was a good man, not particularly capable, but fiercely independent. My family had offered financial help multiple times, but he always politely declined. After his death, Mo Kuer was adopted by my family, moved into a spacious villa, and began living a life with chauffeurs and maids at her service. Everything is just speculation for now, but recalling the expression on Mo Kuer's face when she mourned her father in her previous life, I can't help but think the worst. Tang Xian said it was no problem to leave it to her. She had just left when my phone rang. It was Jianyu. Euro, where are you? Let's talk. I had no intention of meeting Jianyu, but he still managed to find this cafe, relying on his familiarity with me. Euro, don't be angry. Holding my favorite pistachio cream puff, he sat beside me. You know, the only one I love is you. In my past life, I would have softened upon hearing such words, but now I just smiled coldly, holding Moker in your arms while loving me in your heart, double-minded as ever, truly worthy of young Master Jiang. Jianyu grew somewhat angry. I was just acting with Moker to stabilize her emotions. You're her own cousin, seeing her so ill. Don't you feel compelled to do something? Doctors exist for her illness. Why should I need to do anything? I waved my hand. Enough, Jianyu. Breaking up is best for both of us. I've already called the hotel to cancel the engagement venue preparations. Jianyu was stunned, staring at me in disbelief. Are you serious? He immediately glared at me angrily. Song Euro, engagement is a very serious matter. There's no need to joke about it just because you're upset with me. It's no wonder Jianyu didn't believe it. After all, I had always loved him so much, wholeheartedly determined to go to Tsinghua University with him, with every plan for the future filled with thoughts of him. But now I don't want any of it anymore. One last time, I'm not joking, nor am I being petty. I met his gaze calmly. Breaking up, it's that simple. Jianyu growled in a low voice. I don't agree. Before his words faded, a figure rushed into the cafe. Mo Kuer grabbed the coffee from the table and splashed it on me with lightning speed. Bitch, she screamed. Before I could retaliate, she swayed and collapsed into Jianyu's arms. Jianyu held Mo Kuer protectively with one hand while gripping me tightly with the other, his face drenched in sweat. Amid the chaos, I glanced behind the coffee shop counter. The boss secretly gave me an okay hand gesture. The corners of his mouth curled up silently. The owner of this coffee shop is my friend, and I just signaled him to turn on the camera. The entire episode of Mo Kuer's outburst was recorded. This is my backup plan. Prison or mental hospital. I must send her to one of them. 4. The day's farce ended with Jianyu sending Mo Kuer to the hospital. I went home alone and found no one there, apparently. My parents received the call and went to the hospital to see Mo Kuer. I sat in the unlit living room, quietly pondering for a while. In truth, my parents love me very much, but they are also extremely strict with me, always holding me to the highest standards. When I was little and had conflicts with other children, they would always make me apologize first, not to mention that this time, Moker appeared as the complete underdog in everyone's eyes. So whenever there was any conflict between me and her, they would always superficially take her side more. This time when they went to the hospital, Moker must have played the victim again, probably throwing a lot of mud at me. Sure enough, a little over an hour later, Mom and Dad came home with Moker. Mom was supporting the weak Moker, while Dad's face was as cold as ice. Euro, come here, Dad called me. I clearly saw that behind him, Mo Kuer appeared to be weakly nestling in Mom's arms. But in reality, a barely noticeable smile had crept onto the corners of her lips. Did you provoke Kuer again? Dad's voice carried anger. You know perfectly well Kuer is sick, yet you embarrassed her in public. Euro, when did you become someone so devoid of empathy? Look, Mo Kuer is twisting the truth again. Clearly she was the one who rushed in and splashed coffee on me, yet now it's turned into me embarrassing her. If this were my past life, I would desperately defend myself, trying to prove I didn't do such a thing. But in this lifetime, I know self-justification is useless. What works is going crazy together with Mokur. Isn't it just pretending to be sick? If you can do it, so can I. Lowering my head silently, I said in a pained voice, I'm sorry, Dad, I know I've let you down. Then, I took out a thick document folder, emptied it, revealing a diagnosis report provided by a psychological counselor and a completed leave of absence application form. My parents' expressions changed abruptly, and even Mokur couldn't help but straighten her posture. My eyes were red and swollen as I helplessly pinched my own arm. Lately, I can't control my emotions at all, and I'm completely unable to focus when studying. If this continues, I feel like I might end up taking my own life. Parents have limited energy, they can't take care of both me and Kur at the same time. As the older sister, I should give way to her. So let Kur take the college entrance exam this year, I'll take a gap year. As soon as I finished speaking, Mom was the first to panic. This won't do. Dad was slightly calmer than Mom. He pulled her into the bedroom. The two lowered their voices, yet fragments of their conversation still reached us intermittently. Mom's voice trembled with tears. It's all my fault. I only thought Kur needed care, so I brought her home. But I never imagined it would affect Euro too. Dad comforted her. Don't blame yourself yet. What's important now is finding a proper solution. In the living room, Mokur glared at me with resentment. She picked up the psychological counseling diagnosis form I had placed on the table. Son Euro, when did you go to the counseling center? This must be fake. I curled my lips slightly and whispered, you've never even been to a psychiatric department, just running your mouth. At least I have a fake certificate. The next second, our parents pushed the door open. I immediately put on a helpless expression. Please, stop blaming me. I'm willing to give Jiangyu and our parents to you. If that's still not enough, I'm ready to disappear from this world forever. Euro, what are you saying? Mom rushed over and tightly grasped my hand. You must never think like that. Dad then came before Kur and said gently, here's the thing. We've discussed it and decided that our family has another house in the southern part of the city, which is closer to school. Kur, why don't you move there first? We'll hire a caregiver to look after you. Mokur's eyes widened. Uncle, are you abandoning me? She immediately began to panic. Uncle, please, you're my only family left, don't cast me aside. Both parents comforted her together, their tone extremely gentle but their stance unshakably firm. I sobbed quietly on the side, but inwardly sneered. In my past life, after I died in a car accident, my parents were utterly heartbroken. At that time, Mokur volunteered to become their daughter and care for them in their old age. Unaware of the truth, they agreed. But now, I'm still alive. Parents always favor their own flesh and blood. They couldn't just stand by and watch Mokur drive me to depression and suicide. Just like that, Mokur was sent away from our home. She went around school playing the victim, claiming I kicked her out of the house. Classmates started calling me a wicked sister for treating a poor orphaned girl so cruelly. I couldn't even be bothered to respond. The college entrance exam was what truly mattered. These rumors meant nothing. After high school graduation, most people would never see each other again anyway. Jiangyu also confronted me. Kiki cried to me half the night yesterday. Was it really necessary to treat her like that? I buried myself in solving analytic geometry problems without even looking up. Jiangyu, we've already broken up. You don't seem to have any standing to criticize me. I never agreed to break up, Jiangyu said resolutely. The engagement is a matter between two families. How can you end it with just one sentence? Well, that's interesting. I put down my pen, looked up, and smiled meaningfully. So you're saying you're still my boyfriend? Since you're still my boyfriend, can you explain why Mokur was crying with you half the night? A man and woman alone together late at night. Who do you think is being more inappropriate here? Jiangyu was choked with anger. I only feel sympathy for Mokur. She's your cousin and also my classmate. I smiled without saying anything. Actually, there's a recording in my phone. It was during Jiangyu's gathering with his friends when one of them recorded it and sent it to me. In the recording, whether Jiangyu was drunk or not, he said in a smug voice, have you all watched The Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber? Don't you think Song Yuro is just like Xiao Min, and Mokur resembles Xiao Zhao? I sneered. What era is this? Still trying to play the red and white rose game? It's just that right now, I don't want to keep arguing with Jiangyu. Verbal disputes are useless. The more you argue with rotten people, the deeper you sink. What I want to seize is tangible benefits. 5. But Jiangyu is like a piece of chewed gum, once it sticks, you can't shake it off. The school organized alumni from Tsinghua and Peking University to come back and give lectures, with the top 30 students in the grade attending. Coincidentally, Jiangyu happened to be sitting right next to me. Before the meeting started, he stopped me, seeming somewhat hesitant to speak. There's something I don't know how to bring up, then don't. I tried to walk past him, but he blocked my way. Jiangyu gritted his teeth and finally spoke up. Could you give your guaranteed admission spot to Imokur? No, I didn't even bother to lift my eyelids as I tried to shake Jiangyu off. Jiangyu grew anxious, gripping my wrist tightly as he forcibly pulled me to the side of the corridor. Euro, listen to me. Saving a life is more meritorious than building a 7-story pagoda. Right now, you're the only one who can save Kur. Under my scrutinizing gaze, Jiangyu haltingly recounted the entire incident. It turned out Imokur had stirred up trouble again. She faked a suicide in the bathtub, then called Jiangyu, who broke down the door at the last moment before she lost consciousness and saved her. After enduring this melodrama straight out of an 80s tragic romance novel, Imokur tearfully told Jiangyu that if she couldn't attend the same school as him, she would die. As everyone knows, both Jiangyu and I have been recommended for admission to Tsinghua University. As for Imokur's grades, the gap to get into Tsinghua is probably about 400 points short. That's great, Jiangyu, I nodded. Since Imokur is determined to attend the same school as you, and you really want to make her wish come true, why don't? Under Jiangyu's expectant gaze, I smiled at him and said, you tutor her. Although there's only 1 month left until the college entrance exams. Perhaps heaven will be moved by your kindness and create a miracle. I turned and walked away, but Jiangyu, furious, blocked my path in one swift step. Son Euro, do you even hear the nonsense you're saying? In Imokur's current state, how can she possibly take the college entrance exams normally? If you don't want to take the exams but still want to get into Tsinghua, then let's all stop studying and learn how to play the victim instead. I rolled my eyes. Please, just move aside. I need to attend the lecture. I finally shook off Jiangyu and strode forward with long steps. Behind me, he said with a sinister tone, Son Euro, don't think I don't know, her father's death was your doing. The words were so shocking that I couldn't help but stop in my tracks, turning back in astonishment. Kur told me everything. That day, it was you who said you wanted to eat free-range chicken soup. Her father had just returned from driving and went out again to deliver the chicken to you. He was fatigued while driving, which led to the accident. Perhaps my expression was too unpleasant. Jiangyu softened his tone. Of course, Euro, I know you didn't do it on purpose, but what's done is done. Kur has become like this now, and you bear some responsibility. You should atone to Kur. I remained silent as Jiangyu stepped forward, trying to embrace me. Euro, I know you don't believe me, but I truly only feel pity for Imokur. She's your sister, and I treat her as one too, but in my heart, the one I love has always been you. Before Jiangyu could finish speaking, a cold voice interrupted him. Classmate, you've been blocking this path for almost 10 minutes. When are you going to move? Jiangyu and I turned our heads together. A girl in a white shirt stood not far away, with gold-rimmed glasses hanging on her chest, hands in her pockets. Her expression somewhat aloof. I recognized her. She was one of the speakers for this lecture, Senior Su Shaoran, who went to Peking University. For some reason, the moment I heard her voice, I suddenly froze. When I was reborn, a voice whispered in my ear, do you want to start over? That voice was exactly the same as Su Shaoran's from just moments ago. Bro, this isn't working. The girl is clearly annoyed with you, yet you're still pestering her here. Behind Su Shaoran, a tall young man sauntered up with a carefree attitude. His face had an ageless quality, blending a man's mature features with a youth's clear-eyed freshness. A name tag pinned to his chest read, Alumni, Ji Zhao. In that instant, fragmented memories suddenly flooded my mind like scattered puzzle pieces. A strong intuition tells me I've seen these two people before. 6. Thanks to Su Shaoran and Ji Zhao, Jiangyu couldn't continue pestering me. As soon as the lecture ended, I immediately bypassed the crowd and approached Su Shaoran. Senior, could I have your contact information? Su Shaoran studied me for a long time, then smiled. Didn't you get directly admitted to Tsinghua? I'm from Peking University. You should go find your Tsinghua seniors. I hesitated for a long time before finally asking tactfully, have we met before? The moment I spoke, Su Shaoran's expression changed. Ji Zhao, who had followed and now stood behind her, also showed a subtle shift in expression. At school, Su Shaoran asked with apparent calmness, I mustered the courage to shake my head. No, not at school, it was with people coming and going around us. I didn't dare speak too directly, so I hinted vaguely, by a riverside, with red lotuses on the opposite bank. One of you was on a boat. The other on the bridgehead. Before I could finish speaking, both Su Xiaoran and Ji Zhao's expressions turned grave. You actually remembered, Su Xiaoran murmured softly. This probably means you'll face many more trials ahead. She tore off a sticky note, wrote down a string of numbers, and handed it to me. Here, this is my WeChat. After Su Xiaoran and Ji Zhao left, I added that WeChat account. The ID is very strange. Called the upstream traveler. Before I could even say hello, a meme was thrown at me, followed by a few lines that gave me goosebumps. Whether a reborn person can survive depends on fate. Your current situation is very bad. You might die again. If there's danger, send a message to this WeChat. I held the phone, my fingertips trembling slightly. I've already avoided all the critical moments from my previous life. Could Moker have some new trick up her sleeve to kill me? 7. I locked myself in my room and thought it over carefully all night. Then decided to adjust my strategy appropriately, so when Jiangyu called me again, instead of hanging up as usual, I answered. Jiangyu seemed surprised, then let out a long sigh. You've finally stopped giving me the cold shoulder. I tried hard to suppress the urge to roll my eyes and said calmly, what's the matter? Jiangyu said, it's my birthday party on Friday. All the classmates will be there. You'll come to celebrate with me, right? All the classmates will be there. I let out a silent scoff and asked, will Mokur be coming too? Jiangyu's throat felt a bit dry. Well, if you don't want to. No, that's not what I meant. I'll go celebrate your birthday with you. Hanging up the phone, I smiled faintly. Mokur is quite something. She gets sick when told to study for college entrance exams, but miraculously recovers when invited to a party. But it's okay. I actually wanted to find an opportunity to observe her movements. So on Friday evening, I arrived on time for Jiangyu's birthday party. The party was held in a private club's VIP room, with Jiangyu naturally being the undisputed center of attention. Surrounded by everyone, Mokur stood right beside him, clearly dressed up for the occasion with light makeup and wearing a Chanel suit. I narrowed my eyes slightly. That dress was mine. I had originally planned to wear this dress today, but couldn't find it in my closet. Even the housekeeper said she hadn't seen it, so I had to grab another set at the last minute. Never thought I'd see it on Mokur. The Jiang family is a prominent household. Jiangyu's birthday banquet had networking undertones, with people from the business world constantly coming to toast the future young master. After toasting, they would glance at Mokur beside Jiangyu, and Mokur would also greet them with a smile. I've long heard of Miss Song's excellence, and seeing her today truly lives up to her reputation. Our company has always been interested in collaborating with President Song. If possible, we hope Miss Song could put in a good word for us. This is the gift I prepared for Mrs. Song. Mokur smiled broadly, indicating she would deliver both the message and the gift, but before she could take the gift box, a hand reached out from the side and snatched it first. That hand was, of course, mine. Taking the gift box, I smiled and nodded in thanks to the giver. My mother loves this brand of face cream the most. I'll thank you on her behalf first. The guests froze, sizing me up before hesitantly asking, you are, Song Euro. I extended my hand gracefully to shake hands and greet the other person. The guests were completely baffled. And this young lady is. Everyone's gaze fell upon Mokur. Obviously, apart from our schoolmates, everyone else had mistaken Mokur for me. After all, I'm the one engaged to Jiangyu, and the one who should be standing beside him at today's birthday banquet is me. Clearly, Mokur has taken what doesn't belong to her. Before Mokur could introduce herself, I cut in, Uncle, you came to celebrate Jiangyu's birthday and likely wanted to send a gift to the Song family through me. Now that both purposes are accomplished, why bother about who anyone else is? As soon as I finished speaking, Mokur's face instantly turned pale. The guest was also tactful. After all, he had favors to ask of my family, so he immediately chimed in. Miss Song is absolutely right. I'm terribly sorry for mistaking you earlier. With such clear and eloquent speech, Miss Song is truly a lady of noble upbringing. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Mokur so angry that her eyes turned red. She turned her head and ran out the door. That pitiful look was truly heartbreaking. I noticed Jiangyu's expression filled with concern, clearly about to follow her. I grabbed him. Fiancé, where are you going? Jiangyu angrily pushed my hand away. Song Euro, Is this really necessary? Mokur is also part of your family, since you hadn't arrived yet. She was just helping to receive gifts. Why must you make sarcastic remarks about her in front of so many strangers? I sneered. That's right, helping to receive gifts for me. Next. Will she be helping to stand by your side, helping to cut the cake with you? And maybe even helping to marry you in my place? Jianyu frowned deeply. Euro, I always thought you were a generous and graceful girl. How could you become like this? With that, he left me behind and chased after her alone. Everyone turned to look at me. They all saw how the Jiang family's crown prince had just abandoned his fiancée to chase after Mokur. Mokur, she must be feeling pretty smug, right? It's fine. Let her enjoy her moment for a few days. After all, just moments ago, I had already grasped the clues I wanted to know. 8. That night, I received a text message from Mokur. Inside was a photo of Jiangyu lying on the bed, clothes half removed, eyes slightly closed. He's with you, but the one he truly loves is me. Son Euro, you still lost. I looked at my phone and let out a mocking laugh. Do you know how to truly crush someone's spirit? It's when they think they're just one step away from success. You kick them straight down from the clouds. So I opened WeChat and posted a moment's update visible only to Jiangyu. The content was a large bouquet of roses, captioned with, "Thank you for the flowers, I love them." After posting this update, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb mode and fell straight asleep. The next day was a weekend. When I woke up, there were over a dozen missed calls on my phone, all from Jiangyu. Opening WeChat, Jiangyu had already sent several screens worth of messages. Son Euro, who sent you those flowers? You're my fiancé, yet you're still being ambiguous with other men outside. What would your parents think if they knew? How ridiculous. Jiangyu seems to eternally lack the capacity for self-reflection, strict with others, lenient with himself. From this perspective, he and Mokur are truly well matched. But now, he's finally experiencing this stinging pain too. This is my reasoning. No matter how many times I tell Jiangyu to cancel the engagement, he'll only think I'm being petulant. But when there's a possibility I might fall for someone else, that's when he'll truly panic. When you're about to lose something, that thing suddenly becomes extraordinarily precious. Sure enough, after these few venting words, Jiangyu quickly began to make amends. I admit it was wrong of me to leave you at the birthday banquet, but there were reasons for it. You should understand me. Euro, you'll never meet anyone who treats you better than I do. I deliberately didn't reply to these messages, intending to create a sense of crisis for Jiangyu. That night, Jiangyu waited outside my house holding roses the entire time. He even repeatedly questioned my housekeeper. Has any other guy come looking for Euro recently? I waited until the perfect moment before finally letting him in. He waited outside the door for over 2 hours. Normally, he would have stormed off long ago. But this time, Jiangyu showed no trace of impatience on his face, even feeling a hint of relief when I finally let him in. You still can't let go of me, right? He handed the bouquet of roses into my arms. Endless coldness welled up in my heart. Yet a smile hung on my lips, of course. The joy of regaining what was lost filled Jiangyu's heart, and he began repeatedly confirming every detail of the engagement ceremony with me. Meanwhile, to compete with that love rival, Jiangyu forced me to take photos of the roses he gave me, along with the rings on both our hands, pressuring me to post another WeChat Moments update. I pretended to be reluctant. Oh, everyone will naturally find out at the engagement ceremony anyway. The more unwilling I appeared, the more insistent Jiangyu became. Not everyone will attend the engagement ceremony. You must post this WeChat Moments update. And so, seemingly coerced by Jiangyu, I posted this official relationship announcement on WeChat Moments. Very well, everything is within my expectations. Dear Mokur, what kind of mood are you in when you see this moment? If you want to take action, please do so as soon as possible. After all, the plan I've been weaving for so long is about to come to fruition. That night, after Jiangyu left, I made 3 phone calls. The first was to Su Xiaoran. I'd been frequently meeting her for coffee lately, and we'd become quite close friends. She sounded drowsy when answering, as if she was about to sleep. What do you want? Nothing, just thought I should let you know since I stole your picture. Yes, that picture I posted on Moments for Jiangyu to see. The roses in it were actually sent by Su Xiaoran's boyfriend Ji Zhao. Su Xiaoran and I were eating out at the time. Ji Zhao had somehow offended her, but since he was out of town and couldn't apologize in person, he sent flowers instead to make amends. After hearing the whole story, Su Xiaoran was practically dying of laughter at Jiangyu's antics, but she quickly composed herself. By provoking Mo Kur like this, she might retaliate with extreme measures. Are you prepared for that? It's no wonder Su Xiaoran was concerned, according to her. Those who are reborn defy the will of heaven, making them less likely to be favored by good fortune, but I just smiled and said, of course. After ending the conversation with Su Xiaoran, I made another call to my best friend Tang Xian. How's the progress on that matter I asked you to handle this morning? Half an hour later, I hung up the phone call with Tang Xian, raising my hand to open Mo Kur's chat window. I stared at her profile picture. In this selfie, Mo Kur appeared so fragile, innocent, and charmingly pure, yet no one could imagine what kind of demon was hidden beneath this facade. I have many ways to make this demon die without a sound, but that's not enough. I want her exposed in broad daylight for all to see, then reduced to ashes, never to be reborn. 9. The days that followed seemed peaceful and beautiful. All arrangements for Jiang Yu and my engagement were finalized, the guest list was drawn up, and invitations were sent out. Since the Jiang family had corporate promotional tasks recently, they even arranged a live broadcast for the engagement banquet, leveraging the buzz around the Jiangsong alliance to promote their company's upcoming new product. Theoretically speaking, it was quite unethical for the Jiang family to exploit our marriage for corporate advertising by using public resources for private gain. My parents weren't happy about it either, but I gently persuaded them. Live streaming allows more people to witness this engagement ceremony. It's a good thing. That's right, the more viewers, the happier I am. Soon, the day of the engagement banquet arrived. With 3 hours left until the ceremony, I finished my makeup and was ready to change into my gown before being picked up by the driver to head to the venue. I asked the nanny, "Where's the evening gown?" The nanny handed me a glass of water. "It's downstairs, I'll go get it now." "Have some water first, miss." 10 minutes later, the nanny pushed open the door. The room was completely silent. I lay on the ground with my eyes tightly shut, a fallen glass beside my hand, half its water drunk, the other half spilled on the floor. The nanny approached, tried nudging me, and called my name. I showed no response, clearly in a deep coma. The nanny let out a long sigh, picked up her phone, and sent a text message. Moments later, the bedroom door was pushed open again, and the person who entered was Mo Kur. She nudged me with the tip of her shoe and said coldly, €100, so you've come to this. Then, Mo Kur took out an envelope filled with money from her bag and shoved it to the nanny. "Leave immediately, no matter who asks you later. Just say you know nothing." The nanny looked nervous. "Miss Kur, what are you going to do?" "None of your business," Mo Kur said coldly. The nanny still couldn't rest easy. "Please don't do anything too extreme, or I'll be implicated too." "Can you stop the nonsense?" Mo Kur snapped irritably. "Your son is still waiting for you at the hospital." The nanny didn't dare say anything more and hurried away with the money. Only Mo Kur and I remained in the room. She calmly removed the jewelry from me and adorned herself with it, then headed to the dressing room where she found the engagement dress I had prepared. "Sis, you know what? I've always been jealous of you. We're children of the same pair of sisters. Yet you live in a grand villa while I'm stuck in a rundown apartment building. You're about to marry into a wealthy family. Everyone calls you Mrs. Jiang, while I'm stuck with a bunch of small-time thugs. This isn't fair," Mo Kur said while leisurely changing her clothes. After changing, she waited a moment longer until the roar of motorcycles sounded below, and a group of thuggish-looking men appeared downstairs. Mo Kur opened the door for them and briefly instructed, "Follow the plan, strip off their clothes, take photos, and wait for my message. Once you receive it, send the photos to me." 10. Mo Kur left. Several tall men surrounded me. After waiting for over 10 minutes, the leader of the thugs, probably thinking the time was right, lit a cigarette and pointed at me. "Strip her naked." Immediately, a man approached me. However, the moment he approached me, I suddenly snapped my eyes wide open, kicking him square in the groin. I staggered back amidst his ear-splitting scream. The men instantly sensed something amiss, but before they could flank me, 2 figures emerged from behind the screen in my room. "I adore the Song family's interior style," Ji Zhao remarked wistfully. "Let's decorate our future home like this after we're married, shall we?" Su Xiaoran snorted coldly. "Who said anything about marrying you?" I was speechless. "Can you two help me solve this crisis first before showing off your love?" Before my words even finished, Ji Zhao had already sprung into action. He swiftly darted in front of a man and grabbed him by the collar. The man roared, "Where did this little brat come from?" Ji Zhao narrowed his eyes, clearly displeased. "Disrespecting elders. I don't like that." With that, He single-handedly lifted the man and slammed him onto a nearby cabinet. The other two men exchanged glances, drew spring knives from their coats, and charged at Ji Zhao from both sides. Ji Zhao sighed. Fighting in ancient times was more interesting. Modern kids don't have any martial arts skills at all. With that, he disarmed both men barehanded, kicking one into the restroom and hurling the other straight out the second-floor window. The last remaining gang leader was utterly terrified. Instinctively, he knew he couldn't fight Ji Zhao. This young man's movements clearly weren't those of a normal person. So he set his sights on Su Xiaoran standing not far away. Su Xiaoran had the typical appearance of a top student good girl, white shirt, white skirt, looking every bit the fragile model student. Ji Zhao's voice immediately distorted. Don't touch her. It was too late. The gang leader had already lunged at Su Xiaoran, the sharp switchblade about to press against her neck. Su Xiaoran calmly glanced at the thug, and in the next second, this model student raised the object in her hand, a brick. It smashed directly onto the thug's head. I told you not to mess with her. Ji Zhao stood aside, sighing helplessly with his hands in his pockets. She doesn't know her own strength. The thug collapsed to the ground, bleeding from all 7 orifices. Su Xiaoran took out his phone and handed it to me. Everything unfolded pretty much as you predicted. I smiled faintly. Just as Su Xiaoran said, everything went according to my plan. As early as Jiang Yu's birthday banquet, I had already suspected that our family's nanny had been bribed by Mo Cour. The reason was simple. The Chanel suit Mo Cour wore that day, apart from myself, only the nanny knew where it was kept. So I began quietly observing the nanny afterward and indeed discovered she was privately contacting Mo Cour. After confirming this suspicion, I became extremely wary of the nanny's every word and action, never truly consuming any food or drink she handed me. I secretly took the nanny's phone when she wasn't paying attention. Sure enough, under my constant provocation, Mo Cour decided to make her move on me today, so I contacted Su Xiaoran and Ji Zhao in advance, asking them to set up an ambush at my place. This phone must be the one you used to contact Mo Cour, right? I said to the gang leader. He was lying on the ground, pinned under Ji Zhao's foot. He raised his head and glared at me angrily without saying a word. Mo Cour asked you to take nude photos of me, send them to her, and then she would publicly reveal them at the engagement ceremony. Am I right? The gang leader still remained silent. Resisting now is pointless. You trespassed into my home, drugged me, and intended to cause bodily harm. All of this is solid evidence. If you don't want to go to jail, then do as I say. I held the phone up to the gang leader's face. Unlock your phone. The gang leader turned his head away, ignoring me. Fingerprints should work too. Ji Zhao attempted to grab the gang leader's hand. However, the gangster did something no one expected. He stuck his thumb in his mouth and bit down hard, making it bleed profusely. In short, he wouldn't reveal the password, and he destroyed the fingerprint that could unlock the phone. Don't even think about impersonating me to contact Cour, he shouted, his voice laced with menace and a hint of smugness. I lowered my gaze to study him. After a moment, I smiled faintly. So that's how it is. You weren't bribed. You genuinely care for her. The gang leader, having had his feelings exposed, turned his head away to avoid my gaze. I smiled. So that's how it is. These troublemakers were all quite young, and in their eyes, Mo Cour must have seemed like a pure, unblemished jasmine flower. Even if this jasmine flower made them commit heinous acts, it must have been because she was wronged first and had no other choice. In that case, this should be easy to handle. I took out my phone and pulled up the recording I had just made. Mo Cour's voice rang out clearly. You're about to marry into wealth. Everyone calls you Mrs. Jiang, and me, I'm surrounded by a bunch of lowlifes. If my future means marrying such low-quality men, I'd rather die. The voice was cold and merciless, yet unmistakably Mo Cour's. The gang leader's body jerked violently. He raised his head and stared fixedly at my phone, his eyes bloodshot. Got it. You like her so much, but she's never thought highly of you. You're just a stepping stone to be used. Once she steps over you to latch onto the Jiang family's young master, she'll toss you aside. Now, think again. Do you want to cooperate with me or not? 11. Mo Cour stood in the hall, watching the lavishly dressed guests. She swallowed hard, feeling inexplicably nervous. She took out her phone and sent a message to Shunzi. Is the video recorded? Send it over. Soon, a file was sent over. Mo Cour opened it but found it couldn't play properly. What's going on? It won't open. Shunzi's reply came quickly. It won't open on the phone. But aren't you going to connect to the big screen? The big screen can play it. A hint of unease rose in Mo Cour's heart, but she quickly suppressed this worry by force. Shunzi was the leader of these small-time hoodlums and also her biggest admirer. She had always promised Shunzi that once she scammed money from these rich people, she would marry him. So Shunzi obeyed her every word. If Shunzi says there's no problem, then there's no problem. So Emokur quietly approached the control panel. At this moment, the large screen was displaying some old photos of Jiangyu and Song Yuro. With no one at the computer controlling the system, Emokur sat down and imported a video from her phone. Soon, all the guests would see Song Yuro's indecent video. Moreover, this engagement banquet was being live-streamed, meaning countless people would witness this scene. The Jiang family, being such a status-conscious clan, would never allow Song Yuro to set foot in their household again. Emokur imported the video and fiercely pressed the play button. 12. In the center of the auditorium. Everyone turned their heads, drawn by the video that suddenly began playing on the large screen. With a frenzied smile, Emokur also turned her gaze toward the large screen. In the next second, her smile froze on her face. The video scene was set in a coffee shop. Jiangyu and Song Yuro were originally talking when suddenly a disheveled girl rushed in. She threw a cup of coffee on Song Yuro, then collapsed into Jiangyu's arms. Jiangyu tried to protect the girl and even got into an argument with Song Yuro. The guests were already whispering among themselves, "Oh my god, what's going on here? Who is this woman? She seems mentally unstable. Why is Jiangyu still protecting her? Could this girl be the other woman?" Soon, a customer noticed Emokur sitting by the computer. "Ah, isn't that the girl from the video?" Yes, that's her. What does this mean? She came here to play this kind of video. Is she trying to steal the groom?" Before Mokur could leave, Jiangyu rushed forward and grabbed her. "Mokur, what are you doing?" Jiangyu growled in a low voice. "Did you come here to ruin my engagement party on purpose?" Mokur's lips trembled. "Impossible. The video playing should have been the one Shunzi sent. It's not me. Please let me explain." Mokur didn't know what to do either, so she hastily grabbed her phone. "Someone sent me this video. Perhaps too flustered to find a scapegoat, or perhaps wanting to ask what was going on. In any case, Mokur made a call to Shunzi." The familiar ringtone sounded from behind. Mokur turned around abruptly, dressed in evening attire. I stood not far behind her, raising the object in my hand with a flourish. It was Shunzi's phone. The next second, I stepped onto the stage, took the microphone, and said, "Hello everyone, thank you all for attending my wedding. I believe you've just seen the video played by my cousin Emokur. Clearly, this three-way relationship is a bit too crowded, making me seriously reconsider whether this engagement should proceed." Jiangyu shouted, "Song Yuro, what are you doing? How many times have I told you? I only pity Emokur." I smiled slightly. "Oh, then next, I also have a video I'd like to play." I connected my phone to the large screen, then, heavy breathing sounds echoed through the auditorium. In the scene, Emokur sits on the hospital bed, raising her teary eyes to Jiangyu. "Please, can you give me some redemption?" Jiangyu remained silent, closing his eyes as Emokur leaned in and kissed his lips, as if some boundary had suddenly been broken. Jiangyu abruptly pulled Emokur into a deeper kiss. The video clearly captures the sound of their rapid, heavy breathing. As the playback ended, the auditorium fell as silent as a graveyard. Jiangyu turned deathly pale. Emokur has mental illness. I was just assisting with the treatment." Before he could finish, Emokur jumped up. "No, I don't." Emokur's strategy was clear. She merely feigned illness at my home, relying on others' sympathy to survive. But today, in front of so many people, especially with the live broadcast, she absolutely couldn't admit to having a mental illness. Otherwise, not only would the Jiang family never allow Jiangyu to marry a mentally ill wife, but her future education and job prospects would also be affected. Emokur frantically pulled out her medical report from her bag. "Jiangyu, look, everything about me is normal." "That's great," someone interrupted her. Emokur looked up in shock and stared at me, holding the microphone. I smiled calmly and repeated, "That's great. I'm so glad you're completely normal. Otherwise I'd really be afraid you might escape criminal responsibility under the guise of mental illness." The next second, as if to confirm my words, the police burst through the door. 2 female officers stepped forward, flanking Emokur on either side, and escorted her away. In the corner, my already shocked parents were utterly dumbfounded upon witnessing this scene. "Yuro, what's going on here?" I looked to the side and saw Tang Xian, who had entered with the police, walking over to me. "Uncle and Aunt, Yuro came to me several months ago, suspecting that Emokur's father's death wasn't as simple as it seemed. My dad looked into it and indeed found many suspicious points. For example, Mokur's father was clearly an experienced driver, yet that day he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, causing him to shatter the windshield upon hitting the bridge pier and be thrown from the car into the river. Moreover, Mokur didn't report her father missing for 48 hours, making the autopsy significantly more difficult by the time his body was found. However, through subsequent investigations, we still uncovered many clues. We discovered that the thermos in Mokur's father's car contained traces of hallucinogenic drugs, and Mokur had online purchase records for this type of drug several months before her father's accident. Mom's legs gave way, but luckily Dad caught her, the one we adopted and brought home. Yes, he's a demon, I whispered. Uncle repeatedly refused our family's financial support, living a frugal life with Mokur. He thought he was teaching her self-respect and independence, unaware that Mokur had long considered him an obstacle. Jiang Yu, standing nearby, turned pale. He stepped forward, trembling, and said, "Euro, I was blind before, too kind-hearted." Without looking at him, I coldly replied, "Jiang Yu, you were never blind. You're not kind-hearted, you're lustful, greedy, foolish, and have no principles." I took my parents and Tang Xian by the hand and walked away without turning back. "Don't come looking for me again, you're simply not worthy of me." 13. Epilogue. Later, the court's verdict on Mokur's patricide case caused a huge uproar. The Jiang family's reputation was completely ruined during that livestream. Jiang Yu, once the illustrious heir of the Jiang group, became a universally despised scumbag and laughingstock. The Jiang family's business plummeted, and Jiang Yu gradually developed mental issues. In the end, his parents took him and left the city. My academic journey progressed smoothly afterward, but the only odd thing was that I never saw Su Xiaoran and Ji Zhao again. I messaged the WeChat account named Time Traveler, but Su Xiaoran rarely replied, only occasionally sending me a voice message. "We have new work." Deep down, I had a vague idea of what their work entailed. After all, Su Xiaoran once created a small group chat with me and Ji Zhao, and I noticed Ji Zhao's WeChat ID was Soul Chaser. Our trio's group chat was named Workgroup 018, perhaps I was their client number 018. What I don't understand is that they provided me with so much assistance without charging me a single penny. What exactly is the compensation for their work? In the spring of the following year, many of my questions were finally answered. Su Xiaoran sent me a text message. The content was just 4 words, "Want to eat grilled meat?" 14. Large slices of fatty beef sprinkled with scallions sizzle on the copper grill, releasing an aromatic oil fragrance. Surrounding them are garlic-buttered mushrooms arranged like small bowls around the grill's edge, already exuding juices that bubble with a boiling sound. Su Xiaoran picked up a piece of kimchi and chewed, finally finished the busy work. Even Spring Festival wasn't peaceful. Across the table, Ji Zhao was using scissors to cut open a molten lava steak with cheese filling. "You've worked hard, dear, eat more meat." Su Xiaoran rolled her eyes. "Who's your dear? Get lost." She picked up a piece of grilled fatty beef and put it on my plate. "What do you know about the two of us?" I kept my head down, focusing on eating and playing dumb. What, about you two? I know you're from Peking University, but I don't think Ji Senior ever mentioned which school he's from." Su Xiaoran waved her hand. "No need to pretend, Junior, I know you're smart, just say what you know. Since it's come to this, I can't keep playing dumb. Senior Ji is a soul chaser, his ability should be sealing spirits. You're a time reverser, your ability is time regression. I must have been revived thanks to you two saving me." Su Xiaoran chewed on the fatty beef without speaking. Silence essentially meant confirmation. I should have been dead already. That river blooming with red lotuses was the river Styx, with one of you at the bridgehead and the other on the boat. At the bridgehead stands Senior Ji, responsible for guiding the souls back across the bridge. On the boat is Senior Su. You ferry those souls aboard and sail against the current. Su Xiaoran listened silently until I finished, then took a sip of cola. "Everything you said is correct. But there's one problem. For souls we've saved, we quietly provide assistance so they can survive after rebirth. But theoretically, these souls shouldn't recognize us. After returning to the living world, their memories of the river Styx are automatically erased." The two of them stared at me with piercing eyes. "So, why do you remember me?" "How should I know?" Their eyes didn't blink at all. "Me? No, I'm really not playing dumb this time." I raised my hands in surrender. "I'm just an ordinary mortal who had a savior complex in my past life and still gets pushed around in this one. Could you gods please stop asking me about your divine affairs?" Su Xiaoran glanced at Ji Zhao. "She doesn't seem to be lying, Ji Zhao. she genuinely doesn't know. Forget it, it's not important. Su Xiaoran waved her hand. The bottom line is, we saved you, and most importantly, the most important thing is that I still have this memory, I said. No. Su Xiaoran shook her head. The most important thing is, you're still a rich woman. Me, I've decided to start a company. The underworld budget won't get approved, so I plan to find a sponsor in the human world, Su Xiaoran said. You seem like a perfect fit. Me, //, you guys eat first, I'll take my leave, / 15, Song Euro left, Ji Zhao grilled meat while leisurely teasing Su Xiaoran, / well, failed to trick her, / Su Xiaoran said calmly, don't worry, she'll come back. Those bound by fate will ultimately return to the cycle of cause and effect. Sure enough, 3 minutes later, Song Euro lifted the curtain and sat back down again. I didn't say I've agreed to you yet, she said sternly. I'm just asking, what exactly is your business? If I invest, can I get my money back? 1 month later, in the alley, Song Euro looked at the tiny storefront with utter disdain. A tacky sign was placed at the entrance, reading wishing shop 10 yen per try. I must be crazy. Song Euro muttered, I can't believe I'm investing in this thing. Su Xiaoran stood beside her and said kindly, it's alright, that little investment is just a drop in the bucket for you. What do you mean a drop in the bucket? Song Euro exclaimed in frustration. Are you saying that for just 10 yuan, you'll help someone fulfill a wish? Are the abilities of you time turners and soul chasers really that cheap? What are you talking about? Su Xiaoran said, baffled. The 10 yuan is just the price for making a wish. It means the guest can write their wish on a slip of paper for me. As for actually fulfilling the wish, that's a separate fee. By the way, let me introduce me, the shop manager, Ji Zhao, assistant manager. Song Euro sneered, a general without an army. Huh, you don't even have a single employee. Su Xiaoran pointed at Song Euro. You, staff member. Song Euro, wait. Explain this clearly, aren't I the investor? Why did I suddenly become a shop assistant? Following behind Jiangyu was my best friend Tang Xian. The moment she saw Jiangyu in this state, she couldn't contain her anger. / fine, I'm leaving. Consider this investment as good as throwing meat buns to a dog. / The influential Miss Song was utterly helpless against Su Xiaoran. Fuming, she turned and stormed off. Just as I stepped out of the shop, I bumped into a pale-faced girl. Excuse me, is this a place where wishes come true? The girl asked timidly. Song Euro froze for a second, then flashed a warm smile. Yes indeed, please come in. Oh no, I really became a shop assistant. After the girl entered, Song Euro stood outside the store, wiping the sweat from her head in frustration. But, this kind of work, serving deities and witnessing the joys and sorrows of mortal life, doesn't sound too bad after all. Anyway, summer vacation is still long. It's time to welcome new stories. Story 2. Before being pushed off the cliff by Zhou Lin, he told me a secret. All the bullet comments I saw were deliberately fabricated by him for me. It was precisely because I believed the nonsense in those bullet comments that I gave up my fiancé, who was a good match for me in terms of social status, and instead threw myself into Zhou Lin's arms. In the end, he drained my family fortune and pushed me off the cliff. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the wealthy family's dinner party where I had been drugged. The familiar bullet comments appeared again. The female lead, don't you ever go looking for your fiancé. That scumbag is having a wild time with a young model. Why not take a look at Zhou Lin behind you? Although he is just a waiter now, he will become the richest man in the country in the future and spoil you rotten. I turned around and met Zhou Lin's affectionate gaze. In this life, I will make every single bullet comment become his death knell. 1. It was so hot. My body felt as if it was being roasted over a fire. I leaned against the wall and moved forward feebly with my hands and feet. It was not until the familiar bullet comments floated past my eyes that I suddenly woke up. I had actually gone back to the day when I was drugged at the party. Miss Wen, are you okay? A concerned male voice rang in my ear, but it made me tremble all over in fright. I turned my head and met those familiar eyes, gentle, worried, as if filled with endless affection. It was Zhou Lin. In an instant, boundless hatred welled up like magma. I had to use all my strength to restrain the urge to strangle him to death. In my previous life, it was precisely because I believed those bullet comments that I gave up my fiancé, who was a good match for me in terms of social status, and threw myself into the arms of Zhou Lin, who was still a waiter at that time. In the end, he drained my family fortune and pushed me off the cliff. It was not until just before I died that Zhou Lin stepped on my head and looked down at me condescendingly, saying, "Didn't you expect it? Those bullet comments were all deliberately fabricated by me for you to see. Women are so easy to deceive, with just a few bullet comments. You really thought you were the female lead in a novel. You're so stupid, you deserve to be killed by me." He sneered sinisterly and suddenly kicked me off the cliff with a single stomp. All that was left in my ears was the howling wind and the crisp sound of bones breaking. "Miss Wen, you don't look well. Let me help you to the lounge." "Okay." Zhou Lin's voice slithered into my eardrums like a snake hissing, instantly pulling me back to reality. There was carefully feigned concern surging in his eyes, but this time, I could clearly see the calculating look hidden deep within. He was waiting for me to be in a state of delirium and let him have his way with me. "Miss Wen, your body is so hot. How about, let me help you?" His breath brushed against my ear, and his voice was low and slow, as if deliberately trying to awaken the drug's effect in my body. The bullet comments appeared in a timely manner. "Female lead, don't resist, this is fate. Zhou Lin will treat you very well. Believe me, you two are a perfect match. Accept him quickly. Zhou Lin is really good in bed and will definitely make you feel ecstatic." My fingernails dug deep into the palm of my hand. In my previous life, it was these bewitching bullet comments that made me fall into the trap step by step. The heat in my body and the coldness in my heart intertwined, making me shiver all over. But Zhou Lin took this as my invitation for sex and became even bolder. His fingertips gently caressed, moving down along my collarbone, and was about to reach into the neckline of my dress. Just then, I tore off the silver hairpin that held up my coiled hair, and stabbed it hard into his arm. "Ah!" Zhou Lin let out a scream and looked at me in disbelief. I got up and ran towards the main hall of the party, shouting at the top of my lungs, "Call the police, someone is molesting me." 2. While waiting for the police to arrive, Zhou Lin was pinned to the ground by the security guards and could hardly make a sound, but the bullet comments didn't stop for a moment. "Oh my god, is the female lead crazy? This is the future richest man in the country. Your fiancé is having an affair upstairs, but you're hurting the one who truly loves you. Quickly tell the security guards to let him go, otherwise, you'll have to give your first night to that scumbag fiancé." Every word and sentence was pushing me to give up my fiancé and offer myself to this waiter whom I didn't know at all. To be fair, Zhou Lin was quite good at bluffing people, but he seemed to have overlooked one thing. Could it be that I could only choose one of the two men? The doctor rushed over in a hurry and gave me an antidote injection. The cold injection pierced my skin, and the surging heat in my body finally subsided. In my previous life, I was bewitched by the bullet comments and gave myself to Zhou Lin under his coaxing, but this time, the will to survive and break the situation made me hold on until now. I lifted my eyes coldly and met Zhou Lin's slightly anxious gaze. Obviously, since the bullet comments hadn't worked yet, he was starting to lose his composure. "I didn't molest her." Zhou Lin finally couldn't help but speak up in defense, his voice tinged with deliberate grievance. "I just saw that Miss Wen wasn't feeling well and came forward to show my concern out of kindness. I didn't expect to be misunderstood." The bullet comments immediately cooperated and flooded the screen with his looks. "Does he need to be a molester? It's women who throw themselves at him. The female lead is too sensitive, isn't she? Treating kindness as something worthless." I sneered and gave him a mocking look. "Every pervert will defend themselves like this when caught in the act. If you want to explain it to the police." The sound of the police sirens approached from afar, and Zhou Lin's face visibly turned pale. Just as the police were about to take him away, "Wait a minute," a clear female voice cut through the commotion. 3. I turned around and saw a girl in a pure white dress walking quickly over. I knew this girl. Her name was Lan. It was she who sponsored Zhou Lin, helping him to come out of the poor mountain village and get admitted to a prestigious university. I heard that when she went to the mountain village to donate supplies, she took a fancy to Zhou Lin at first sight. Since then, she had supported him all the way and cultivated him carefully. She not only covered Zhou Lin's tuition and living expenses but also paved the way for him, giving him the opportunity to mingle in the upper-class social circles. I once asked Zhou Lin what kind of relationship he had with Lan. Zhou Lin just said casually, "She's my sponsor and has been kind to me." I believed him at that time, but in my previous life, not long after I got together with Zhou Lin, this girl died in a car accident. At that time, I thought it was an accident. Now that I think about it, there's probably more to it than meets the eye. And Lan stood in front of Zhou Lin, like a mother hen protecting her chicks, without any evidence. can you just frame an innocent person with just your words? She turned to look at the police. I know Zhou Lin, he would never do such a thing. This silly girl was probably just like me in my previous life, whose mind had been bewitched by Zhou Lin's bullet comments. I looked at her angry expression with great interest and slowly took out my phone. Oh, is that so? On the phone screen, it clearly showed the scene of Zhou Lin acting inappropriately towards me in the lounge. Originally, I also wanted to find the footage of Zhou Lin drugging me, but unfortunately, he was cautious and managed to avoid the surveillance cameras. So I couldn't find the evidence of him drugging me, and Lan looked at the surveillance footage, her face as white as a sheet, but even so, she still bit her lip, as if she wanted to defend Zhou Lin. Fortunately, the police didn't give her the chance. Zhou Lin was soon taken away, and Lan followed, but those annoying bullet comments were still not giving up and were making a final struggle. It's all a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding, female lead, believe us. Zhou Lin just couldn't help himself for a moment, and that's all because he loves you so much. Are you really going to miss the one who truly loves you for the sake of a cheating man? If you don't believe it, go and take a look at box No. 1 on the upper floor of the banquet hall. Your fiancé probably just finished his affair. I raised an eyebrow. If the bullet comments hadn't mentioned it, I would have almost forgotten. In my previous life, it was in box No. 1 that I witnessed my fiancé's betrayal with my own eyes. From then on, I completely believed the bullet comments and had no more doubts. My fingertips unconsciously dug into my palm, and I lifted the hem of my dress and walked upstairs. This time, I wanted to see just how flawless the plot Zhou Lin had arranged was. 4. The box was in a mess. The messy clothes were scattered all over the floor, and the air was filled with the smell of alcohol and lust intertwined. Mo was holding the woman in his arms and was sound asleep. The bullet comments immediately flooded the screen like crazy. Look, this is your dear fiancé. Now do you believe that what we said is true? Only Zhou Lin truly loves you. Go and find him quickly. I bit my lower lip so hard that I tasted blood. It was this scene in my previous life that made me completely believe the prophecies in the bullet comments and obey Zhou Lin from then on, but this time, I strode closer and noticed Mo's dilated pupils and the abnormal flush on his face. His fingers were twitching spasmodically around the woman's waist. This look was exactly the same as mine after I relieved the effect of the drug in my previous life. I understood in an instant. It seemed that Mo had also been drugged. Mo woke up with a start. When he saw me, he pushed the woman in his arms away in a panic. He fumbled to wrap the quilt tightly around himself, his voice hoarse. You have to believe me. I was drugged. Of course I believed him, because this was a common trick used by Zhou Lin. In my previous life, I was so stupid that I was blinded by anger and didn't notice these details at all. I know, I said calmly, but my fingernails dug deep into my palm. Mo obviously let out a sigh of relief, but the next second, let's cancel our engagement. What? He stared at me in disbelief. I'm the victim, but you did betray me, I sneered. Moreover, memories of my previous life flashed through my mind, how the Qi family had gradually nibbled away at the Wen family's business under the pretext of my faults, and how Mo had watched coldly and even added fuel to the fire. The bullet comments were still flickering nonstop. Female lead, baby, you've finally seen clearly. A man like Mo is not worth it at all. Only Zhou Lin truly loves you. He has been waiting for you for so long. Do you have the heart to make him wait any longer? Think about it. If you had chosen Zhou Lin just now, how happy you would be now. I clenched my fists. How ironic. In my previous life, I believed these lies and ended up dying a miserable death. In this life, I've seen through the truth. But I still have to step into this trap, because I know, only by making Zhou Lin think that his plan has succeeded first can I make him reveal more flaws. I will accompany Zhou Lin to play this game to the end. Mo still wanted to explain. I simply left, letting him call out behind me. The moment I turned around, a tear rolled down my cheek. It wasn't for Mo, but for myself in my previous life who had been played with and killed. 5. I cancelled my engagement with Mo. This time, the Qi family was in the wrong and had to give up 8 percentage points of the profits as compensation. 8 percentage points. My father was so angry that he smashed the teacup. Is my daughter's marriage only worth that much? I held down his trembling hand and said in a calm voice, I lost my marriage, but I got the money. Isn't that more practical? I think it's quite good. Dad is just feeling sorry for you. My father sighed. Originally, I thought that if you married Mo, In the future he would take over the Chi and Wen companies, and you wouldn't have to worry about the rest of your life, but now, it's not only men who can take over the company. I interrupted him and said seriously, Dad. Train me to be your successor. It's only when our own company is in the hands of our own family that we can feel at ease. My father's eyes lit up with surprise. Luchi, do you really mean it? I looked straight into his eyes and nodded solemnly. In the past, I didn't want to get involved in company affairs. I thought that as long as I found a capable man, I could live an easy life. My parents also indulged my temper. They said that they named me Luchi because they hoped that I could live happily without any worries, but the lessons of my previous life made me fully understand. No man can truly be my support. Only when I hold the interests firmly in my own hands can I feel at ease. Very good, very good. My father was so excited that his face was glowing. No problem, my dear daughter, I'll arrange for you to join the company tomorrow. I will teach you everything I know and do my best to train you. However, just a few days after I started working in the company, I ran into an unexpected person, the familiar figure, the hypocritical smile, Zhou Lin. He actually managed to sneak into the company so quickly, and he became an intern in the department I was in charge of. Along with his appearance, there were also those noisy bullet comments. Female lead, look how much Zhou Lin loves you. In order to see you every day, he gave up countless job offers from other companies. Every step he took out of the mountain village was to be worthy of you. How can you have the heart to let down such deep affection? With just a word from you, he would even give his life for you. Give his life. I curled my lips coldly. I don't need him to give me his life, I'll take it myself. Find out how Zhou Lin got out of the police station and how he got into the company. I tapped my fingertips on the table, and a surge of excited fighting spirit welled up in my heart. The secretary soon brought back the news. It was Lan. She not only bailed out Zhou Lin but also stuffed him into the Wen Group. The Yin family was also one of the shareholders of the Wen Group, although their shareholding was small and they didn't have much decision-making power, but it was still no problem to stuff an intern in. What's more, with Zhou Lin's background of graduating from a prestigious university and being about to graduate, he did meet the requirements. I suddenly thought of that night's party when Zhou Lin worked as a part-time waiter. This work-study opportunity was probably also given to him by Lan. Otherwise, with the strict management of that banquet hall, they wouldn't have hired any temporary workers at all. For Zhou Lin's great cause of climbing up the social ladder, Lan really gave him everything he wanted. Find a way to invite Lan out to meet, but not in my name, I instructed the secretary. One day later, I met Lan at a coffee shop on the outskirts of the city. She had originally made an appointment with other friends. When she saw that it was me, her delicate little face immediately tensed up, and her expression became stiff. Miss Wen, you went around to invite me out. What do you want to say? Her tone was obviously hostile. I smiled slightly, but the smile didn't reach my eyes. Of course I had to go around. I raised my eyes to observe her expression. After all, I want to talk to you about the bullet comments. I have to be on guard against Zhou Lin, and Lan's body immediately tensed up. What do you mean? Although she didn't answer directly, her vigilant body language had already given me the answer. Sure enough, Zhou Lin also used the trick of bullet comments on Lan. I said with certainty in my tone, if I'm not mistaken. The reason you trust Zhou Lin so much is because of the bullet comments, right? And Lan sat up straight and said seriously, Miss Wen, if you want to hold him accountable for what happened at the dinner party that day, I apologize to you on his behalf, but Zhou Lin really didn't mean to offend. He just wanted to help you and accidentally slipped his hand. You trust him so much. I lowered my eyes and stirred the cooling coffee, shaking my head meaningfully. What did those bullet comments tell you? That you're the female lead and he's the future richest man. That as long as you're willing to support his ambition to rise to the top, he'll spoil you rotten. And Lan's eyes widened in shock. You can see them too. Not only can I see them, but in the bullet comments I see, I'm the female lead. How is that possible? And Lan's pupils suddenly contracted, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. I guided her gently. You've been with him for so long. Don't you really think there's something fishy going on? And Lan fell into a brief moment of contemplation, frowning slightly as if trying hard to digest what I had said, but in just an instant, she regained her defensive expression, as if I were a villain trying to sow discord. So what? She raised her chin, her voice trembling but her back straight. I know him and I trust him, even without the bullet comments. I will firmly stand by his side. I heard the hidden meaning in her words. Do you mean that you can't see the bullet comments now? And Lan's expression flickered with a moment of panic, and she forced herself to defend. It's none of your business, this girl is really innocent, all her thoughts are written on her face, and she can't hide anything at all. Fortunately, she's so innocent, which made me confirm one thing. Zhou Lin's bullet comments can only be designated for one person to see at a time, and they can't be transferred casually. When Zhou Lin used them on me, and Lan could no longer see them, I told her. I first saw the bullet comments on the day of the dinner party. After that, haven't you seen the bullet comments again? And Lan pursed her lips and fell into thought. I continued, you don't have to rush to reply to me. I have only one request. Don't tell Zhou Lin about our meeting today. It's for your own good. If one day you also find something suspicious about him, you're welcome to come to me again. I stopped at that and got up to leave. After all, I don't know Lan well and can't trust her completely. If she tells Zhou Lin about our conversation, it will undoubtedly bring me trouble. But I can't just watch her be killed by Zhou Lin. Wait a minute. Just before the glass door closed and Lan suddenly caught up, she seemed to want to say something but cautiously swallowed it back. Finally, she softly promised me, don't worry, I won't tell him. 7. Zhou Lin had a strategy. After joining the company, he didn't rush to get familiar with me. Instead, he silently built up his presence. Every day, he was the first to arrive and the last to leave. In the office late at night, often only his back, working overtime alone, was left, lonely and stubborn, like a carefully designed silent film. Of course, he wasn't completely silent. There were still bullet comments speaking for him. Female lead, look how hard he's working. In order to be worthy of you, he only sleeps for 3 hours a day and works desperately. Since you misunderstood him that night at the dinner party, he's been breathing carefully, afraid of making you angry again. Don't you feel touched by this restrained and patient love? If it were in my previous life, I might have been moved by this performance. Now I just find it ridiculous. Since he's working so hard to attract my attention, I can't let him fail completely. So, one late night while working overtime, I came to Zhou Lin's desk. Why haven't you left yet? Zhou Lin suddenly looked up, looking flattered. His Adam's apple rolled, his eyelashes fluttered slightly, and his expression changed within a few seconds. The bullet comments translated his mental activity for me. Great, female lead, you finally noticed him. The male lead is pretending to be calm on the surface, but his heart is about to explode. Who would have thought that the future richest man would actually be a pure love warrior? Zhou Lin regarded the bullet comments as his inner monologue. I raised an eyebrow, pulled up a chair, and sat down beside him. I ordered some late-night snacks. Let's eat together. Zhou Lin pretended to be shy and asked tentatively, Miss Wen, aren't you angry anymore? Angry about what? I asked knowingly. At the dinner party that day, I really didn't mean it. If I offended you in any way, I apologize. I'm sorry. Zhou Lin looked extremely nervous, but through those eyes, I could see the certainty in his heart. He was betting that I had already fully believed the bullet comments. After all, the result of the cheating catch last time perfectly proved the correctness of the bullet comments. So, I went along with his intention. I'm the one who should apologize. That day, I was really too impulsive and misunderstood you. My voice was soft and gentle, and my fingertips were restlessly rubbing the edge of the lunchbox, as if feeling embarrassed. I quickly glanced at him and then immediately lowered my head, with a thin layer of redness appearing just right on the tips of my ears. If we don't eat now, the late-night snacks will get cold. Okay. Zhou Lin smiled shyly, and a hint of pride flashed in his eyes. It had started to rain outside the window at some point. The raindrops meandered down the glass, blurring the light in the office in a hazy and alluring way. The ambiguity gradually spread. The bullet comments began to encourage me to throw myself into his arms. Female lead, look, his eyes are all red. Do you know how hard he's been holding back? As long as you kiss him now, you can have all the tenderness of this future richest man. Even his breathing is trembling, with such a cute reaction. Don't you really want something to happen? They still want to PUA me into kissing him. In their dreams, I lowered my head, letting the flush spread from my cheeks to my neck, looking just like a girl in the first throes of love. But when Zhou Lin reached out to hand me a tissue, I coincidentally tilted my head to avoid his touch. For some plays, stopping just at the right moment is the most alluring. 8. After that late-night snack night, Zhou Lin's offensive obviously escalated. In the elevator lobby in the morning, he would coincidentally run into me. The collar of his white shirt was slightly open, revealing his well-defined collarbone. Some pleasant surprises began to appear on my desk. On Monday, there was a white tulip with morning dew. On Wednesday, it was replaced with a handwritten note and macarons. On Friday, there was a concert ticket under the keyboard. Each gift hit exactly the right spot of my preferences. Obviously he had done his homework. The most wonderful thing was the way he looked at me when we met in the corridor. Those peach blossom eyes would light up first, and then he would restrain himself and lower his eyelashes, suppressing the surging feelings. During the lunch break, through the glass curtain wall, I could always catch the moment when he hurriedly averted his gaze. All these things made me couldn't help but sigh at his excellent acting skills. Of course, I also, as he wished, pretended to be heart-fluttering. In this life, the process of him courting me is much more difficult than in the previous life, but Jolin has been persistent. I think there are probably two reasons for this. First, my family is wealthy enough. Among the wealthy families in this city, I'm one of the few only daughters, which makes it convenient for him to take over all my family's wealth. Second, I speculate that the target of his bullet comments can't be changed casually, and he can only designate one person at a time. Otherwise, he would definitely use multiple strategies and court several wealthy girls at once. We still worked overtime until late at night. I was really seriously learning about the company's affairs and made rapid progress in a short period of time. As for Jolin, besides working overtime, I'm afraid he thought more about how to win me over. Gradually, he began to send me home late at night on the pretext of safety. The atmosphere between the two of us became subtle after each journey together. Finally, on this night, after he, acting as the driver, sent me to my doorstep, he suddenly leaned over and his fingers tentatively covered the back of my hand. But we encountered an uninvited guest. "What are you two doing?" GMO walked out from the shadows of the plane trees. His black coat was stained with night dew, and he was holding a half-extinguished cigarette in his hand. The light of the street lamp poured down from above his head, outlining his tightly pursed lips sharply. "Why are you here?" I was a bit surprised. After the engagement was called off, I hadn't contacted Chimo again, but it seemed that he was specifically waiting for me. "I'm waiting for my fiancé to get off work. Is there a problem?" Chimo said matter-of-factly. "Have you lost your memory?" I said with a laugh. "We've already broken off the engagement. It's been so long. How long are you going to keep making a fuss?" Chimo irritably loosened his tie. "I told you, I was drugged that time. Besides, among the men in our circle, which one isn't chased by women who can stay pure? Is it really worth it just for such a trivial matter?" He suddenly softened his tone and reached out to touch my face. "Stop making trouble. The compensation has been given by my father, and I've also been scolded by the old man. You should come back. These days, I've missed you a lot." I was so angry that I laughed and was about to retort when Jolin had already stepped in front of me. "How can you say such things? If you don't cherish her, there will naturally be someone who regards her as a treasure. Who cares about a man like you who's already tainted?" GMO slowly turned his head. His gaze swept over Jolin's whole body as if sizing up a commodity. Finally, it fixed on that inexpensive suit, and a cold snort escaped from his nostrils. "When Luchi, is this your new lover? Something that can't be brought to the public eye, I have to say." This sentence made me feel good to hear. Jolin's face instantly turned pale, and his knuckles turned blue from gripping tightly. "Yes, my background isn't as prominent as young Master Cheese, but if Luchi were my fiancé, I'd rather break my hands and feet than let her suffer such grievances." The bullet comments joined in the commotion. "Wow, the male lead's boyfriend power is off the charts. This kind of man is the one worth relying on. Female lead, get together with the male lead quickly. If you miss him, there won't be such a good man again." I just found it ridiculous. In fact, when I first came back through time, I still had some vague hopes for GMO. Just like in a romantic novel, when the female lead is hurt by one man, it seems that another more excellent man must appear to accompany her like a savior, as if in this way, it can prove that she's worthy of being loved. But the cruel reality tells me, placing hope in men will only bring disappointment again and again. Jolin is bad, and GMO is a scumbag. Neither of them is any good, but at this moment, these two guys are in front of me, competing to show their so-called deep affection. It's really laughable. Enough, I stopped this farce. GMO, it's over between us. The night wind picked up the fallen leaves and swirled them around our feet. I took the initiative to hold Jolin's hand. When I looked up at him, my eyes were filled with tenderness like moonlight, and I said firmly, "Jolin's family background may not be comparable to the Chi family's, but don't bully a young man because he's poor. I believe he won't be an ordinary person forever." Jolin's pupils suddenly contracted. and his Adam's apple rolled as he swallowed. His expression at this moment was like that of a gambler finally waiting for the moment when the dice cup was opened. That kind of shudder mixed with ecstasy and greed was transmitted from his fingertips all the way to my palm. Luci. Do you really think so? I smiled and looked at him. Of course. His fingers trembled, and he suddenly hugged me into his arms. I could smell the remaining cheap perfume on his suit, which fermented with the excitement of success in the night wind. GMO sneered and turned to leave. After taking 3 steps, he turned back and threw down a sentence. You'll regret being with such a poor man. He was right. In my previous life, when I was pushed off the cliff by Zhou, I really regretted it to the core. But now, I just hugged Zhou back even more tightly and said firmly, no, I believe, choosing him is the most correct decision I've ever made in my life. 9. Zhou and I got together just like that. He perfectly replicated the routine from my previous life. On the surface, he silently gave to me without asking for anything in return. In reality, he used the bullet comments to exaggerate it greatly. Oh my god, the male lead didn't sleep all night just to grab a limited edition doll for the female lead. See the blisters on his hand from the burn. That's from learning to make creme brulee for the female lead. Just now, when the female lead coughed, he immediately took off his coat. He was shivering from the cold but still said he wasn't cold. What a familiar formula. He put on a show of 3 parts, and the bullet comments exaggerated it into 12 parts of deep affection. When he secretly met with Enlon in private, the bullet comments would pop up saying preparing a surprise. Even his perfunctory attitude when he stood me up could be beautified as running all over the city to buy a gift for the female lead. In my previous life, he wove a Truman's World for me with the bullet comments, making me live in a carefully designed script and thinking that I had glimpsed the secret of fate. Those floating words were like transparent silk threads, wrapping around my judgment layer by layer until I could no longer see the truth clearly. And in this life, honey, I want to take you to meet my good friend. Is that okay? I rested my chin in my hand and looked at him, my eyes full of infatuation. I want everyone around me to know how lucky I am to have met such a wonderful boyfriend like you. Zhou eyes flickered. He knew very well the significance of this invitation. Being able to step into the social circle of the daughter of the Wen family meant being officially included in the social map of the top celebrities. This was much higher than the social circle that Enlon, the daughter of an upstart, could provide. Okay, I'll leave it to you to arrange. Zhou pretended to be doting and ruffled my hair. I leaned into his arms, taking the opportunity, hiding the sneer at the corner of my mouth. Zhou still didn't know. The friend I was going to take him to meet was exactly his old acquaintance, Enlon. 10. My friend has always heard me talk about how great my boyfriend is and has urged me many times to let her meet him in person. I took Zhou arm and walked through the carved archway of the restaurant, before entering the private room. I suddenly leaned close to his ear and laughed softly. Come to think of it, you two already know each other. To give her a surprise, I deliberately didn't tell her that my boyfriend is you. Hearing this, Zhou body suddenly tensed up. Which friend are you talking about? As soon as the words fell, as if he had a premonition, he slowly turned his head. He was directly facing Enlan's pale face. The wine glass in her hand clattered to the ground, her pupils constricted violently, and her lips trembled, but no sound came out. Look, this is the friend I mentioned. I happily shook Zhou stiff arm. Enlon, you're familiar with her, right? The one who helped you out that day at the banquet. Zhou Adam's apple rolled a few times, and the corner of his mouth twitched into a twisted arc. You too, have you been in touch all this time? His fingertips oozed cold sweat in my palm, and his probing gaze swept back and forth between Enlon and me, as if testing the possibility of being exposed. Zhou panic at this moment confirmed my suspicion. His special ability has limitations. He can only fabricate those bullet comments to deceive us, but he can't truly have the ability to see everything and spy on our whereabouts. Otherwise, he wouldn't have reached the door of the private room without knowing that the person inside was Enlon. Actually, we weren't familiar before. I tilted my head and showed an innocent smile. Later, I heard that Enlon was your sponsor, and as we talked, we became close friends. I turned my head and affectionately took Enlan's cold hand. I also have to thank you for sponsoring Zhou all those years. That's how I was able to meet such a wonderful boyfriend. Enlan stared fixedly at Zhou. Her lips lost all color, as if all the blood in her body had been drained, but she still asked persistently, she's your girlfriend, so who am I? I promptly changed my expression and showed a look of surprised and bewildered. What do you mean? Are you also Zhou girlfriend? facing such a tense situation. Zhou Lin's expression was only flustered for a moment before quickly returning to normal. "And Lan, I think you've misunderstood," he said in a slightly apologetic tone. "You sponsored me for 6 years and helped me out of the mountain village. I'm very grateful. But I don't like you, if I caused you any misunderstandings before." "I'm sorry, no, you didn't say that before." Tears welled up in Lan's eyes. "You clearly said before that." Enough. Perhaps afraid that his lies would be exposed, Zhou Lin interrupted Lan's words in a hurry and turned to me, saying, "Luqi, there are some misunderstandings between Miss Lan and me. Could you please give me some time so that I can explain it to her alone, to reassure me?" The bullet comments also joined in the defense. "And Lan is just a paranoid. She's morally blackmailing the male lead just because she sponsored him. The male lead feels like he's being tortured every time he meets her. He's just enduring it to repay her kindness. The male lead may be poor, but he has integrity. Once he becomes the richest man, he won't have to be coerced by such a woman anymore. The female lead should trust the male lead and give him some space to deal with it." I suddenly remembered that in my previous life, I had also seen similar bullet comments. At that time, Lan heard that Zhou Lin and I were dating and came to ask for an explanation. At that time, Zhou Lin only took 20 minutes to make that stubborn girl leave with red eyes. I didn't know how Zhou Lin explained it to her. But after that, Lan really stopped bothering me. After a while, I got the news that Lan had died in a car accident on a winding mountain road. According to the timeline of my previous life, Lan should still be safe now. But looking at her shaky figure at this moment, I suddenly wasn't sure anymore. Perhaps the fangs of the viper would show earlier than in my memory. "Then I'll go back first. You two can talk slowly." I pretended to believe the bullet comments, obediently left, and even thoughtfully closed the door of the private room for them. About an hour later, Zhou Lin came back. There was a smile on his lips, but his eyes were as cold as ice. He reached out and ruffled my hair. "It's all explained. It was all a misunderstanding before. From now on, she won't bother us anymore." "Really?" I looked up at him. "Of course." Zhou Lin leaned down close to me, his breath brushed against my ear, and his voice was as soft as a snake hissing. "Trust me, Luqi." 11. According to the trajectory of my previous life, Lan died in a car accident a month after she came to the door. I thought that in this life, it should be around the same time, which was enough for me to prepare in advance, but I didn't expect. Just a week later, I saw the report of Lan's death in a car accident on the news. It was still that section of the winding mountain road, and it was still due to a brake failure, but the time was completely different. That section of the winding mountain road was in the suburbs, usually, and Lan wouldn't go there. What was the reason that made her drive there alone in both her previous and present lives? The answer was obvious. It was Zhou Lin who asked her to meet at the top of the mountain, saying that he wanted to give her a surprise or an explanation. My heart sank heavily, even though I knew he was the murderer. Without evidence, everything was just empty talk. At this moment, the sound of the door lock turning woke me up. It was Zhou Lin who came back. Today, he invited me to his rental house, saying that he would cook for me and show off his skills. He was holding a paper bag with the logo of an internet-famous cake shop in his hand and smiled calmly. I queued up for 2 hours. He held the cake and smiled as he leaned towards me. "Want to have a taste?" I frowned and turned my face away. Zhou Lin paused for a moment and keenly sensed that my expression wasn't right. "What's wrong? Who made my baby unhappy?" I directly dropped a bombshell. "Did you kill someone outside?" Zhou Lin's pupils suddenly constricted, but he was only flustered for a moment before returning to his usual gentle and considerate appearance. "Luqi," he smiled and shook his head, reaching out to touch my face. "What are you talking nonsense about?" I avoided his touch and pressed on. "You killed Lan, didn't you?" An expression of just the right amount of shock and hurt appeared on his face. "She's my sponsor. I'm too grateful to her to do such a thing. How could I?" His voice suddenly choked up, as if he was deeply hurt by the sudden accusation. "Who did you hear this from? It's ridiculous." My fingertips trembled as I pointed towards the air, and my lips were pale. But, the bullet comments are never wrong. Hearing this, there was finally a crack in Zhou Lin's expression. "What bullet comments? I haven't told you this. In fact, since the day of the dinner party, I've been able to see a lot of floating words. At first, I thought it was someone's prank. It wasn't until after you were taken away by the police and what the bullet comments said came true that I realized I had misunderstood you." I took a deep breath, as if I couldn't hold back the trembling in my voice. "Later, a lot of things happened. all of which proved that the bullet comments were true. They never lie. I took a step back, trembling all over, and my pupils constricted violently. But now, the bullet comments are telling me that you killed Anlan and you caused this car accident. Jolin's Adam's apple rolled violently 3 times. I could almost see the veins bulging on his forehead as his brain was running at high speed. The next second, the bullet comments in the air suddenly changed. What? The female lead can see the bullet comments we send, but Anlan clearly died in an accident. Did the female lead see it wrong? Jolin tried to muddle through by manipulating the bullet comments, but I ignored them and showed an even more terrified expression. It's so strange. Before, the font of the bullet comments I saw was black, but now it's actually turned blood red. My voice trembled, as if I had seen something extremely terrifying. The blood red bullet comments say that you deliberately tampered with Anlan's car brakes. It's okay to drive on a flat road, but once you get to the complex winding mountain road, it will be extremely dangerous. After that, you asked Anlan to meet you at the top of the mountain, saying that you wanted to give her a surprise and asked her to go alone. Before I could finish speaking, Jolin's expression changed from his initial calmness to stiffness, and fine beads of sweat began to break out on his forehead. He tried his best to maintain his surface calmness, but there was an unmaskable look of panic in his eyes. Don't believe these, it must be someone's prank, he said, pretending to be calm, but I seemed to be possessed and continued to murmur the non-existent blood-red bullet comments. The bullet comments also say that the reason you killed Anlan was that you were afraid she would get in the way of you climbing up the social ladder with me. In fact, you and Anlan were lovers. You were afraid that she would expose this to me, so you took drastic measures against her. I looked at him with a terrified expression and disbelief. No wonder Anlan reacted that way in the restaurant last time. It turns out, Jolin still didn't give up and tried to use the bullet comments to save the situation. How could that be? Jolin is clearly only in love with the female lead. It's all Anlan's misunderstanding. Jolin has a very upright character. He definitely wouldn't do such a thing. Whose bullet comments are spreading such rumors? This is really hurting Jolin's feelings. He only has you in his heart. Jolin worked hard to fabricate the bullet comments, trying to change my mind, but my performance was as if I couldn't see the bullet comments he fabricated at all. Instead, I continued to talk endlessly about the so-called blood-red bullet comments. The blood-red bullet comments say that all the black bullet comments I saw before were deliberately fabricated by you for me to see. You can control what I see, so as to gain my trust in you. My God, have I been deceived by you all this time? I covered my mouth and said in disbelief, it turns out that the reason Anlan trusted you so much was also because of the bullet comments you tailored for her. As I revealed these bloody truths one by one, I finally broke through Jolin's psychological defense. His originally tense body began to tremble, and all the color drained from his face. How could this be? Where did these blood-red bullet comments come from? Is the system malfunctioning? He was so anxious that he accidentally mixed up the words calling the system with the fabricated bullet comments. So, the bullet comments in front of me refreshed like crazy. System, what's going on? When Luchi doesn't seem to be able to see the bullet comments I sent with my brainwaves anymore. The bullet comments she's seeing now are blood red. Is the system out of order? When I bound Anlan before, this kind of situation never occurred. I stared fixedly at these bullet comments he accidentally sent, filled with disgust, but it wasn't enough. He hadn't completely broken down yet. I suddenly let out a scream and stepped back, as if I saw extremely shocking bullet comments. So, you approached me from the beginning just to kill me and get my inheritance. Jolin's body shuddered violently. No. How could I? His defense was pale and weak, and even his voice was distorted. The blood-red bullet comments told me everything. I mentioned the name of a cliff abroad, which was exactly the place where he pushed me off the cliff in my previous life. You've even chosen the location, haven't you? After we get married and my father hands over the company to you, you'll take me there and make it look like an accidental fall off the cliff. Jolin's breath suddenly stopped. He stared fixedly at me. The face that always wore a gentle smile now showed a ferocious expression without any disguise for the first time. How could you possibly know? How could other bullet comments know? I haven't even taken any action yet. I sensed the danger and turned to run, but Jolin grabbed me back, his palm clasped around my neck like a vice, with such great force that it almost crushed my bones. Since you already know everything, I can't let you live anymore. He no longer cared about pretending. His knuckles pressed into my carotid artery inch by inch. That's right, I killed Anlan. I tampered with her car, and you're about to die at my hands too." His voice was hoarse, filled with endless coldness and madness. "If only there hadn't been these blood-red bullet comments today, I could have deceived you for a few more years. I was almost successful. You were already completely devoted to me, but you had to discover the truth. To be honest with you, the bullet comments you saw before were fabricated by me, but so what? After you're dead, I can bind someone else, and I can make a comeback." In his arrogant and hysterical narration, my breathing became weaker and weaker. Just as I was about to fall into darkness, bang, the door was suddenly smashed open from the outside, and Lon rushed in with the police. When Zhou Lin saw Lon, his eyes widened in shock. "You're not dead. How can you still be alive?" The police officer swarmed up, controlled him, and pinned him to the ground. I was finally released and took big gulps of fresh air. "Didn't you expect it?" I weakly curled the corner of my mouth. "Actually, there are no blood-red bullet comments at all. All of this was just to make you admit all your criminal facts yourself." I pointed with my trembling finger at the pinhole camera in the corner. "That was something I secretly set up in Zhou Lin's rental house a week ago. Stop struggling. Everything you said and did just now has been recorded by the pinhole camera." Hearing this, Zhou Lin shuddered all over and slumped down like a snake whose spine had been removed. His eyes were unfocused, and his lips moved but no sound came out. The face that always wore a gentle mask now only showed the despair of a cornered man. 12, that's right, and Lon wasn't dead at all. All of this was a carefully arranged play for Zhou Lin by us. Let's go back in time to a week ago. Under the pretext of meeting a friend, I took Zhou Lin and met Lon in the restaurant. This meeting was actually a gamble between Lon and me. It was to let her see with her own eyes. When Zhou Lin had to choose between me and her, how much was that heart beautified by the bullet comments really worth? As expected, Zhou Lin chose me on the spot. Although Lan's family background was not bad, compared with the Wen family, it was still far inferior. However, he was afraid that Lan's entanglement would make all his previous efforts go to waste, so he had to appease her first. I asked Lan what exactly Zhou Lin had explained to her in private that day, and Lan told me. He just said that he had his own difficulties, and he couldn't say what those difficulties were specifically. He just asked me to trust him and that he would take responsibility for me. "Do you believe him?" I asked. And Lan was silent for a moment. "If you hadn't come to me, I think I would have believed him." When I could see the bullet comments before, Zhou Lin told me several times that he had his difficulties but never explained the reasons. Whenever I had doubts, the bullet comments would explain it to me, and in the end, the content of the bullet comments was verified by the facts, so I felt more sorry for him and trusted him even more. She paused and then said, "But if the bullet comments were really his self-directed and self-acted scheme, then I have no reason to trust him anymore." I agreed with her. No matter how eloquently Zhou Lin spoke, one thing was certain, that was when he had to choose between the two, he gave up on Lan. This was enough to prove that he wasn't as affectionate as she had imagined. "Things have come to this, and I admit defeat," and Lan let out a deep sigh, full of self-mockery, but I shook my head and corrected her. "And Lan, there's no winning or losing between us. Is it really considered a win to get this man? Then this kind of win is really disappointing." And Lan suddenly fell silent and lowered her head, remaining silent for a long, long time. When she raised her head again, those sad eyes had become extremely calm and determined. "You're right. What kind of victory is it to not be abandoned? Making him pay the price is what matters." She looked at me with a determined gaze, like a sharp blade unsheathed. "What should we do next?" I told Lan that there was a high possibility that Zhou Lin would choose to kill her to silence her and eliminate the root of the trouble. She needed to install pinhole cameras within the scope of her daily activities, especially paying attention to the car's components and the brake system. At the same time, she also needed to play her role well to avoid arousing Zhou Lin's suspicion. Facts have also proved that our prediction was completely correct. When Zhou Lin tampered with Lan's car, we received the alarm immediately. Although he cleverly avoided the driving recorder, the 360-degree pinhole cameras around clearly captured his criminal behavior. After that, Zhou Lin invited Lan to go up the mountain, euphemistically saying that he could answer all her previous doubts and prepare a surprise for her. In fact, in order to completely clear himself of suspicion, he didn't go up the mountain at all that day. He just estimated that Lan was almost there and then called her, lying that he had something urgent to deal with, and asked Lan to turn back. In her previous life, Lan had an accident on the way down the slope, but in this life, Lan didn't go up the mountain at all. She just destroyed her car, faked the scene of the car accident, and then used false news to mislead the public's attention. Zhou Lin thought he had everything taken care of and solved his biggest worry. But he didn't know that all his actions were within our prediction. In order to make his criminal facts conclusive, I fabricated the existence of the blood-red bullet comments and revealed his sins from the previous life little by little, forcing Zhou Lin to completely break down and finally admit the criminal facts. Now, the video of Zhou Lin admitting the criminal facts himself, the surveillance video of him tampering with the car, the call recording of him inviting Enlon to go up the mountain, many irrefutable evidences are all laid out on the table. His criminal facts are conclusive, and no matter how much he tries to quibble, it can't be shaken. In the end, Zhou Lin was sentenced to 20 years in prison by the court for multiple crimes, including 2 attempted intentional homicides and the destruction of transportation vehicles. 13. On the day Zhou Lin was sentenced, I personally went to the court to witness this moment. The moment his cloudy eyes saw me, they suddenly lit up, and his chapped lips opened and closed silently. According to the court's regulations, he couldn't talk to me, so he started desperately fabricating bullet comments, talking about how good he had been to me before and how deeply he had loved me. Lu Qi, do you remember the cake I learned to make for you, the night you said you were cold? The coat I took off still retained your body temperature. Forgive my momentary confusion. I was just too afraid of losing you. Can you write me a letter of understanding? I will definitely work like a slave for you when I get out. There was a sickly expectation in his eyes, as if he was certain that since he hadn't succeeded yet in this life, I should be grateful to him. But I had actually experienced the destruction of my family and my own violent death in the previous life. How could I possibly forgive him, seeing that I remained expressionless all the time? Those bullet comments gradually became ferocious. Bitch, haven't I given you enough? If it weren't for me, could you have experienced the feeling of being loved? Just you wait, I still have the bullet comment system. When I conquer someone more powerful than you, I'll kill you. It was so noisy. Fortunately, the judge finally pronounced the sentence. The defendant, Zhou Lin, is convicted of the crime of intentional homicide and the crime of destroying transportation vehicles. After combining the punishments for multiple crimes, he is sentenced to 20 years in prison. The moment the judge struck the gavel, those twisted words in the air dissipated like smoke. All those curses and pleas were gone, until the familiar bullet comments floated past my eyes, and the host's mission failed, and the system binding is released. The host loses the permission to manipulate the bullet comments, and the target person will no longer be able to see the bullet comments. I glanced at Enlon beside me and happened to meet her gaze. I knew that she had heard it too. From now on, Zhou Lin can no longer use the bullet comments to deceive and manipulate anyone. We have finally completely walked out of the huge scam woven by the bullet comments. Walking out of the gate of the court, there was a long-lost, clean and clear world in front of us. There were no floating words, and there was no preset fate. It turned out that real life should be this refreshing. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. The sound of Enlan's footsteps came from my side, brisk and firm. The gate of the court slowly closed behind us, and neither of us looked back. Story 2. On my best friend Fong Li's 22nd birthday, she was harassed by a drunk. As a black belt in Taekwondo, I accidentally killed the drunk while trying to protect her. However, in court, she refused to testify for me. I was sentenced to 3 years in prison for manslaughter. After being released from prison, I found that Fong Li had married my boyfriend, and they even had a daughter over 2 years old. They also plotted to marry me off to Fong Li's divorced and abusive older brother. Then, in a blink of an eye, I was back on Fong Li's 22nd birthday. Just a second ago, I had a car accident due to being in a daze. Then, when I opened my eyes, I was already back in my room, seeing the time on my phone. I finally confirmed that I had really returned to the day of Fong Li's 22nd birthday, 3 years ago. I looked at myself in the mirror. To attend the birthday party of my best friend, whom I had known since junior high school, I had carefully dressed up. There were messages from 2 people on my phone. One was from Fong Li. She sent a location and a voice message. When I clicked it, her sweet voice came through. Honey, this is the restaurant I booked. Don't go to the wrong place, okay? The other was from my boyfriend, Lin Yanhua. He sent a message. Yuan Qing, are you ready? I'm almost downstairs at your place. I rolled my eyes in my heart. In my past life, I thought they didn't have much interaction at this time. Hearing that a best friend was like a little mother-in-law, I added some money and bought an expensive necklace for Feng Li in Lin Yanhua's name. I wanted my best friend and my boyfriend to get along well. Who knew that when I got out of prison after 3 years, their child was already over 2 years old. Calculating by time. The child was already conceived at this time. Biting back the urge to curse them out, I sent a message to Feng Li. Honey, I accidentally sprained my ankle just now. I have to go to the hospital first. I'm extremely sorry for missing your birthday. I'll definitely make it up to you later. My family was better off than Feng Li's. Over the years, she had taken a lot of advantage of me, so on the surface, she was always obedient to me. She sent a bunch of concerned voice messages. I didn't click on them. I was afraid that I would vomit when I heard her overly sweet voice. Then I sent a message to Lin Yanhua. I'm not feeling well, you go by yourself. Without waiting for his reply, I set his WeChat to do not disturb. I looked back at the gifts on the bed. The necklace was to be given in Lin Yanhua's name, and I also bought her a bag in my own name. Neither of the two items was in a style I liked. So I took the two things and went to return them, too. After returning the things and walking out of the luxury store, I casually opened Moments and saw Feng Li's post. She was wearing a white princess dress, holding a large bouquet of flowers, surrounded by gifts, looking like a little princess, and my Lin Yanhua was standing next to Feng Li. He was standing, his body slightly leaning towards Feng Li. At first glance, without knowing, people might think they were a couple. Disgusting things. Feng Li and I had known each other since middle school. Her family was ordinary. When the surrounding classmates were all unkempt and didn't know how to dress up, she was slender, fair-skinned, and had a soft voice. She didn't know how many boys' hearts she had captured, but where there is love, there is also hatred. One day after school, she was blocked in an alley by several little hooligan girls. The reason was simple. The boy that the little hooligan girls had a crush on liked Feng Li. When I was a child, I was in poor health, so my parents sent me to learn Taekwondo, originally just to strengthen my body. Who knew that I had extraordinary talent in this area and had few opponents at a young age. So when I saw Feng Li being bullied, I stepped in and drove those little hooligan girls away with a few moves. Before those little hooligan girls ran away, they shouted at me, "Jiang Yuanqing, I will never let you go." I put my hands on my hips and shouted at them, "If you have the guts, come at me." My brother is Shen Tingxi from the senior high school department. I turned around and reached out to pull up Feng Li, who was crying pitifully. Since then, Feng Li and I, with completely different personalities, became close friends. Later, she also asked me why I had a different surname from my brother. I bit the straw of my yogurt, looked up at Shen Tingxi at the top of the honor roll, and didn't know how to tell her that Shen Tingxi lived in our house because his parents had both passed away. Seeing me hesitate, Feng Li gave me a playful smile. I won't ask about the private affairs of the rich, but, she paused and stepped forward to point at Shen Tingxi's photo. Do you mind if I chase your brother? 3. Before, I didn't understand. But after being reborn, I realized that from that time on, Feng Li seemed to be consciously trying to snatch things from me. She would borrow the clothes I just bought to wear. She would take my extracurricular books to read. She would also get to know my friends, and she even wanted to chase my brother. I was too young back then to tell good people from bad. When I knew that Feng Li wanted to chase Shen Tingxi, I even specifically went to tell Shen Tingxi. After hearing this, Shen Tingxi raised his eyes and glanced at me. Jiang Yuanqing, where's your ID card? I was a little confused, but I still took out my ID card from my bag. Here it is. Shen Tingxi snorted softly. Then please take a good look at how old you are now. At your age, falling in love in the next 3 years is considered puppy love. Shen Tingxi was 3 years older than me. I was in the 3rd year of junior high school, and he was in the 3rd year of senior high school. He had lived in our house since he was 10. At first, I really liked to play with him. Having a good-looking brother at home was a great thing for a girl to show off, but as I grew up, I increasingly felt that Shen Tingxi was a block of wood. He was calm, sober, as cold as the autumn lake. As a teenager in his teens, he was already calm, introverted, and didn't show his emotions. My dad even praised him, saying that he would surely achieve great things in the future. But the always calm Shen Tingxi, in my past life, after I was imprisoned, his eyes were red countless times. 4. Maybe I was too much of a fool before and always followed Feng Li's will. This time, such a sucker, suddenly didn't go to her birthday. The gifts she showed off didn't look as high-end as before, so not long after she posted on Moments, she made a video call to me. I didn't answer. I looked at the time. At this point, they should have moved from the restaurant where they ate to the second venue, a KTV, in my past life. I paid for the KTV. It was already very late when we came out of the KTV, other friends got in their cars and left one after another, and Fong Li, who was waiting for a car by the roadside, was suddenly hugged by a drunk. His hands were all over her in a vulgar way. After Lin Yanhua and I drove the car out, we saw that Fong Li's clothes were already in a mess. This place was relatively remote, and the security guards couldn't see. There were several accomplices around the drunk, making lewd laughter. Seeing my friend being bullied, I got out of the car and ran over directly. After pulling Fong Li over, the drunk still wanted to attack me. I had learned Taekwondo, so I threw him to the ground with a judo throw. When the other drunks saw this, they all surrounded me to help. It was a bit difficult for me to deal with 3 or 4 drunks, but Lin Yanhua, as if he didn't see anything, hid in the car and refused to get out for a long time, so during the entanglement, in a hurry to get away. I didn't control my strength well and kicked one of them to the ground. His backside of head hit the ground and he fainted. A passer-by called the police, and all of us were taken to the police station. Finally, we learned that the drunk had died because of a serious brain injury. My family hired the best lawyer for me, but there was no surveillance in that place, except for ourselves and those drunks. There were no other witnesses. Originally, I was just acting in self-defense, but in court. Fong Li, the good friend I had always treated sincerely, said in court, at that time, the drunk had stopped pestering me. Jiang Yuanqing misread and thought I was being bullied. Even though my family spent a lot of money, I was still sentenced to 3 years in prison. My parents' hair turned white overnight. Shen Tingxi, who was always calm and self-possessed, looked at me with red eyes. Yuan, don't be afraid, brother will be with you. 5. Later, I was locked up in prison. Fong Li came to see me. She was crying pitifully, looking so miserable, as if she was the one who had suffered a great grievance. I'm sorry, Yuan, I was so scared. She showed the same pitiful face as she had countless times after making mistakes before. You'll forgive me, right? Forgive? I tear her to pieces. I spent 3 years in prison, and it took me a full 3 years to not hate her so much, but when I got out of prison, the news I got was that my good best friend Fong Li had already married my boyfriend Lin Yanhua and even had a child over 2 years old. Hate, yes. Resent, yes. So, being reborn, I want to stand by as a bystander and watch them be torn apart by fate. I returned home and quietly waited for that moment to come. At 1:30 in the morning, I received a call from Lin Yanhua. I guessed what was going on, so I answered the phone. On the other end, Lin Yanhua was panting, and the background was a bit noisy. His tone was a bit urgent. Yuanqing, come to the police station. Something happened to Fong Li. The good show was about to begin. When I arrived, the police station was in chaos, crying, shouting, the police is scolding, and the siren outside were all mixed together. At other times, I would find this kind of background noise very annoying, but at this moment, I felt like it was the sound of nature. Under this background noise, it meant that I was completely reborn. I had completely escaped the tragedy of my past life and started my new life. I stepped on my small leather shoes, carried my small bag, walked past those people, and came to Lin Yanhua. He looked like a mess. There was a bruise on the corner of his mouth, and his clothes were torn. He was lowering his head when he heard my footsteps and looked up. The first thing he said was, "Why didn't you go to Fong Li's birthday party today?" I paused. Why didn't I notice before that Lin Yanhua was so good at blaming others? I tilted my head and looked at him. Would it be any different if I went? In my past life, when I saw Fong Li being molested, my first reaction was to rush down to help her, and as my boyfriend, the one who cheated with Fong Li, Lin Yanhua had been hiding in the car and not getting out. Later, his explanation was that he was calling the police in the car, but in fact, the person who really called the police was a passer-by. Perhaps irritated by my words, he suddenly stood up, and the look in his eyes when he looked at me was extremely fierce. Aren't you a Taekwondo black belt? When you went out with Fong Li before, didn't you also drive away the hooligans? If I had gone this time, the one being harassed, molested, and violated would be me. Then you wouldn't be sad, right? Lin Yanhua was stunned, and his arrogant aura just now subsided a lot. He looked at me in disbelief. You know, right? I smiled sweetly. What do you think? I didn't want to pay attention to Lin Yanhua anymore. I turned around and followed the policewoman to find Fong Li. She looked much worse than Lin Yanhua. Her clothes had been completely torn. The policewoman had found other clothes to cover her. She was sitting on the bed, curled up, her exquisitely permed hair, which had cost a lot of money, was now in a mess. Her eyes were red. Because of her fair skin, any trace left on her body would be very obvious. She lowered her head and shed tears, looking extremely pitiful. The policewoman explained to me that after Fong Li and the others came out of the KTV, they met the drunks molested Fong Li. Lin Yanhua called the police and the security guards after Fong Li was dragged into the alley, and then went to help. Lin Yanhua directly took a brick and hit the man on the head. Now that drunk was still in the ICU of the hospital, and his life was hanging by a thread. After the policewoman finished speaking, Fong Li looked up at me, and her tone was also very weak. Yuan Qing. But I didn't step forward to hug her as before. Instead, I stood where I was. She looked at me, a little confused. The policewoman noticed the strange atmosphere and thought we had something to say, so she quietly backed out. "Why are you standing so far away?" Fong Li asked me. My expression was indifferent. "I just came to take a look. I can't help much. After making sure you're okay, I'm going home. It's already very late." I put it as euphemistically as possible. "I just came to watch the joke." Fong Li's face changed. She was in disbelief and a little bit blameful. "Yuan Qing, what do you mean? Aren't we friends? I'm already like this. Why are you so cold-hearted?" "I never thought you would be such a person." "I never thought you would be such a person either." I interrupted her and said directly, "I treated you as a friend. What about you? Have you ever treated me as a real friend?" Fong Li was stunned. "You? What do you mean, literally?" "I didn't want to entangle with them too much," I said. "I just came to watch their jokes. In my past life, this night was my nightmare. After accidentally pushing that person down, my parents rushed over. My mother, who had been elegant for most of her life, collapsed on the ground and cried bitterly when she heard that I might be imprisoned. Both my parents' hair turned white overnight. I was controlled by the police, and my parents were crying bitterly outside, but Fong Li, whom I had helped, had been standing in the corner and didn't even give my parents a word of comfort. Lin Yanhua had been standing beside Fong Li. After symbolically comforting my parents a few words, he left with Fong Li. Now that I think about it, they probably didn't go back to school that night but went to a hotel, and I became the biggest victim. And on this night after being reborn, I looked at the group chat with Shen Tingxi, my parents, and me on my phone. Before going to bed, my parents posted photos of them having dinner at a restaurant, with happiness all over their faces. In this life, I will firmly hold on to my happiness. When I turned around and walked out of the police station, Fong Li and Lin Yanhua's parents had just arrived. I passed by them. They all looked back at me. Maybe they wanted to say something to me, but they were urged by the police and followed the police in. I stood outside the police station and looked back at the busy police station. The harm I suffered in my past life, in this life, I will make them pay back 1,000 times. The news that Fong Li was dragged into the alley by the drunk spread throughout the whole school that night. The next day when I went to class, I heard several girls next to me talking about something. I was curious and turned my head. "What are you looking at?" Those girls looked at each other and didn't dare to speak. I thought for a while, is it about Fong Li? Those girls' faces changed, and they nodded. One of the girls who had a good relationship with me took her phone and sat next to me. "Yuan Qing, I know you have a good relationship with Fong Li. You may be angry when you see this video, so we didn't dare to show it to you." "What video?" The girl held up her phone for me to see. The video was secretly taken from upstairs. It was the KTV from last night. Fong Li was dragged into the alley by those drunks, and her white princess dress was torn and thrown out. The video was a bit blurry, and it was not clear what exactly happened. But the girls' screams and the drunks' jeering laughter in the video were enough to show what had happened. After watching it, I frowned slightly. 9. Although I did want to take revenge on Fong Li and Lin Yanhua, I really hated the person who posted the video of a girl being violated. Seeing my expression turn sour, the girl immediately paused the video. "We don't know who posted it either. It was spread everywhere last night. Yesterday was Fong Li's birthday. You should have been there, right?" Everyone knew that I had a close relationship with Fong Li. Fong Li was the art department's department flower, popular all over the school with her perfect appearance. Many rich second-generation students were pursuing her, and she changed boyfriends quite frequently. Moreover, due to her arrogant personality, she had already offended many people. Now that this video came out, those who had disliked her on weekdays all started to pile on the blame. I lowered my eyes and said, "I wasn't there. I don't really know what happened. although I was disgusted by the person who spread the video of a girl being violated. I'd always remembered what had happened to me because of Feng Li in my past life. I would never forgive her. After thinking for a while, I said to those girls, in the future, you don't have to consider me when it comes to Feng Li's matters. I have nothing to do with her now. The sudden break-up of former good friends was a story worth them gossiping about for a long time. On that day, neither Lin Yanhua nor Feng Li came to school. After sending Lin Yanhua a break-up text message, I immediately blocked both of their WeChat accounts. Based on my understanding of them, I knew they would come to pester me later. After all, I had been so naive all these years and had given them so many benefits. After finishing the afternoon classes, I went home. In my past life, I was in prison for 3 years. My parents cried every day, and our family business plummeted. Everything was supported by Shintingxi. Even before coming back, I had sent them a message saying that I would come back for dinner tonight, but when I arrived at the door, I was still nervous. After giving myself enough mental preparation, I pressed the doorbell. Our house was a large riverside flat. As soon as the door opened, the nanny aunt was busy arranging the dishes. My father was sitting in the living room watching the news. My mother opened the door and saw me, her eyes curving into a smile. Our Yuan is back. I thought I had done enough mental preparation and wouldn't show my emotions. But when I saw such a warm scene and my gentle-eyed mother standing in front of me, I still couldn't hold back. And big teardrops fell. As soon as my mother saw me crying, she immediately panicked. Oh, what's wrong? Did you get bullied at school? In their eyes, I had just been at school for 2 days and then came back, but in my eyes, it was the first time in a full 3 years that I felt the warmth of home again. At the dinner table, my parents kept putting food in my bowl. While chatting, my parents suddenly talked about Shintingxi. By the way, your brother is coming back soon. My hand holding the chopsticks paused. After college, Shintingxi chose to study abroad and started a company with his foreign classmates. According to my father, it was doing quite well. In my past life, he was probably coming back around this time, but because of my incident, he rushed back regardless of everything and only managed to catch up with my sentencing in court, this time, since I didn't have an accident. According to the plan, he was probably going to come back within half a month. In fact, in my past life, the relationship between me and Shintingxi was a bit delicate. I was pursued by Lin Yanhua when I was a sophomore and got together with him. Once, we were spotted by Shintingxi while shopping on the street. He pulled me aside with a straight face and said that I was not allowed to fall in love. I just thought he was trying to persuade me in an elder-like way, and I was a bit unhappy. Before you said that falling in love before the age of 18 was puppy love, but now I'm almost 20. Why are you meddling in my affairs? I'm your brother. You're not my real brother. Because of this quarrel, I started to avoid him. He was 3 years older than me and had already received an admission notice from a foreign university at that time. He was so busy every day that he went out early and came back late. Even if we happened to meet by chance, I would angrily avoid him. Until he really went abroad, I was still angry with him because he didn't allow me to be with Lin Yanhua, who knew that the next time we met, I was about to go to prison. Thinking of how he had run around for me in my past life, the always clean and hygienic him became unshaven, and his beautiful peach blossom eyes were full of bloodshot. He was not my real brother, but he was better than a real brother. So after dinner, when I returned to my room, I took out my phone. The chat record between me and him stopped more than 2 years ago. When he went abroad, I took out my phone, thinking about what kind of conciliatory message to send him to apologize. As a result, I accidentally touched the voice call button. My hand shook, and the phone fell to the ground. I hurriedly picked it up and found that the other side had already answered the call. A clear and cold male voice came through. Hello. I froze. Not daring to speak, Shintingxi called again. Jiang Yuanqing. Hearing the familiar voice, my nose twitched. When I spoke again, my voice had changed. I'm here. He seemed to have heard the sobbing in my voice, and his tone was no longer as cold as before, like the calm lake finally rippling. What's wrong? What happened? I sniffed and looked at the photo of me and him on the desk when we were young. I was looking at the camera, and the little boy was looking at me. So, I spoke. Across the entire Pacific Ocean and several time zones, conveying the most sincere words in my heart. Shintingxi, I miss you. After I said that, I was so ashamed that I threw the phone aside. Shintingxi's parents and my parents were family friends. When my parents' business failed, all the relatives and friends around closed their doors and refused to lend a hand. It was Shintingsi's parents who helped my parents. When Shintingsi was 10 years old, his parents' business had problems, and they died in a car accident. It was my parents who rushed to the Shin family's villa and brought Shintingsi back from those debt collectors. When he first came to our house, Shintingsi always refused to talk and eat. My parents couldn't do anything about him. It was I who kept pestering and coaxing him that he was willing to speak. However, the first sentence he said to me was, "Can you be quiet?" When I was a child, I called him brother. When I grew up and knew that he didn't have the same parents as me, I would call him brother when I was happy and call him by his full name when I was unhappy. During puberty, when everyone was attracted to the male classmates in school, I shamefully blushed for Shintingsi, but after realizing it, I simply gave myself a slap. Jiang Yuanqing, have you no shame? He lives in your house because he has no choice. How could you have such improper thoughts about him? Later, after learning biology, I also understood that it was normal to have an interest in the opposite sex during puberty. I slowly let go of it and would also suddenly praise him after staring at him. Brother, you're so good looking. In short, if it weren't for Lin Yanhua, the relationship between me and Shintingsi would always have been good. For several days in a row, Fengli and Lin Yanhua didn't come to school, but their affairs had spread far and wide. Fengli had always been ostentatious in her actions. Now that she had encountered these things, those who had been bullied by her before began to gloat. When I walked into the classroom, everyone was whispering. When I entered, everyone exchanged glances and then gradually quieted down. After I sat down, a boy who usually had a good relationship with me in the front row turned around and looked at me. Yuanqing, I heard that you and Fengli had a falling out. I gave a hum. He asked again, because of what? I couldn't explain to them how badly I had been hurt by Fengli in my past life. I was still hesitating when the girl next to me said, what else could it be? Because she saw Fengli's true colors. With this sentence, it was like opening everyone's chatterbox. Everyone spoke one after another, sharing what they had seen and heard about Fengli. I live in the same dormitory as Yuanqing, so I have the most say. Every time she had a date, she would come to take Yuanqing's clothes and bags, but I never saw her return them. Either the ones she returned smelled of hot pot or had stains. It's not just clothes and bags, there are also skin care products. Yuanqing is so kind. Every time she buys skin care products, she buys 2 sets. She takes them for granted, but I never saw her buy anything for Yuanqing. Fengli, I thought she was very scheming from the first time I saw her. On the surface, she smiles and is gentle to everyone, but who knows what she's really like behind the scenes. There's another thing, I don't know if you've noticed, Fengli always likes to snatch things from others. Everyone spoke one after another, bringing up all the little things that had made me feel a bit uncomfortable about Fengli over the years. People are like this. The little details that were not noticed before would all be triggered at a certain point. Since we met in junior high school, I had always regarded Fengli as a weak person who needed help and took good care of her. Her family was of ordinary means, but she was a bit vain, so, whenever I bought skin care products for myself, I would also buy a set for her. When we went shopping, I always paid the bill. I had gotten used to it over the years, but at this moment, when everyone said it out, I realized the inequality in this relationship. In this friendship between me and Fengli, I had always been giving, while Fengli had always been taking. A small favor creates indebtedness, a great favor breeds resentment. Fengli, at some point, had developed hatred towards me and started trying to snatch my things. At first, after she said she wanted to pursue Shintingsi but failed, she changed her words and said she also hoped to have such a brother, so on weekends, I would bring her home to play. Shintingsi was reading in the study, and she would go to disturb him many times. She would call Shintingsi brother all the time. At that time, Shintingsi had just finished the college entrance examination and was previewing the content of his college major at home. When he heard Fengli call him like that, he looked up coldly. I remember I only have one sister. Then, regardless of Fengli, who was standing there awkwardly, he directly carried his school bag and went out. At that time, I still accused Shintingsi of being impolite and cold. Now that I think about it, Shintingsi could tell a scheming girl from a young age. 5 days after the incident, I ran into Lin Yanhua at the dormitory entrance. He was wearing a baseball cap and a mask. It seemed that he knew he was in the spotlight recently. At first, I didn't notice. It was not until I walked in front of him that he suddenly grabbed my arm. And I was startled. He made a should gesture. It's me. I twitched the corner of my mouth. It's because it's you that I screamed. Someone passed by and glanced at us. Lin Yanhua quickly lowered his head, afraid of being recognized. Can we find a place with fewer people? After the lessons of my past life, I was now afraid that he would take me to a deserted place and hit me on the head. I chuckled twice and took his hand away. No need. Before blocking him, I was afraid he wouldn't understand what I meant. Instead us, Lin Yanhua quickly lowered his head, afraid of being recognized. Can we find a place with fewer people? After the lessons of my past life, I was now afraid that he would take me to a deserted place and hit me on the head. I chuckled twice and took his hand away. No need. Before blocking him, I was afraid he wouldn't understand what I meant, so I had sent him a message saying that I wanted to break up with him. I thought he could guess what was going on, and I was too lazy to be so explicit, but I never expected that he would still have the nerve to come to me. Seeing that I was about to leave, he grabbed me again. Yuan Qing, you can't just say break up and that's it. I know it was wrong of me and Feng Li to do that, but you can't completely blame me. At that time, you and I were arguing, and Feng Li was always chatting with me, so I ended up like that. Now that I'm in trouble, you can't just ignore me. Sure enough, after a man cheats, his first reaction is not to think that he is wrong but to find reasons from others. I was so angry that I laughed instead. I turned around and looked at him with disgust. Lin Yanhua, why didn't I notice before that you were so shameless? I struggled to get away. But I didn't expect Lin Yanhua to throw caution to the wind and directly pull me out. Many people around were looking, but no one came forward to help. Just as I was about to use my taekwondo skills, a tall and slender figure walked over from the side. He held my hand and then clamped Lin Yanhua's wrist. With a light squeeze, Lin Yanhua let go of my wrist in pain. He protected me behind him. When I looked up, I saw his profile. It was Shen Tingxi. He stared fixedly at Lin Yanhua. I warned you more than 2 years ago not to get close to her. Right, Shen Tingxi's aura was so strong that, coupled with the pointing and whispering of the people around, Lin Yanhua could only run away like a coward. Shen Tingxi turned around and met my upward-looking gaze. These days, the weather had turned cooler. He was wearing a long black windbreaker and looked extremely handsome. I was still immersed in his handsomeness when, the next second, he tapped my forehead with his knuckles. Is falling in love fun? I covered my forehead and glared at him. This Shen Tingxi was really vindictive. Shen Tingxi said he would take me home for dinner. I followed him into the car and found that the driver was his high school classmate. They often took me with them when they had gatherings before. As soon as his classmate saw me, he winked and said, "Oh, Yuan Qing, you become so beautiful now. No wonder someone, just getting off the plane without going home, rushed to pick you up. If I had such a beautiful sister, I would also fly here to pick you up." Before he finished speaking, he was hit by a pillow thrown by Shen Tingxi. After going through the events of my past life, I was extremely happy to meet him this time. Both of us were sitting in the back seat. I turned around and looked at him. Didn't Mom and Dad say you wouldn't be back for a few more days? Why are you back today? Before Shen Tingxi could speak, the classmate driving the car was shaking with suppressed laughter. Shen Tingxi adjusted his sitting position a bit uncomfortably and said, "Didn't you say to let me come back early?" When did I ask him to come back early? That day, I clearly said that I missed him. I suddenly paused. After not seeing each other for more than 2 years, the Shen Tingxi in front of me was the Shen Tingxi I knew. But he also had a different feeling. Outside the car window was the busy traffic, and inside the car was his side face looking ahead. In the quiet and enclosed space, my heart suddenly started beating faster. I silently turned back and pretended to play with my phone, but on my phone, I searched, "After puberty, will you still have a strong and unprovoked interest in the opposite sex?" The family was reunited. I looked at this scene and my eyes turned slightly red. But I didn't want Shen Tingxi to see it and misunderstand. After dinner, when I returned to my room, he knocked on my door. After getting my consent, he walked in. After looking me up and down for a while, he said, "Are you still sad because of breaking up with that jerk?" I was sitting on the bay window, and Shen Tingxi was sitting at my desk. Our eyes met, and my heart started beating fast again for some reason. So I averted my eyes. No, but Shen Tingxi stared at me intently. "You don't dare to look at me. Are you guilty?" Shen Tingxi seemed a bit angry. "What's so good about him? If you break up, you break up. Don't fall in love in the future either. Men are all no good," I muttered. "You're a man too." Shen Tingxi paused. "I'm different. Lin Yanhua found me again through a mutual friend later. I directly posted a moments. I have broken up with Lin Yanhua. If anyone comes to be a peacemaker, don't blame me for blocking you as a friend too. After this moments, the world became quiet regarding Feng Li's incident. Feng Li was the victim, but public opinion was terrifying. Everyone was spreading the rumor that Feng Li had been raped by those drunks. Just when the rumors were in full swing, a person who had asked for sick leave to see a doctor posted a moments, saying that they saw Feng Li having an examination in the obstetrics department at the hospital. The photo released was indeed of Feng Li standing outside the obstetrics consultation room alone. This moment was like solidifying the rumor that she had been raped. The once high and mighty department flower goddess had now become a rat that everyone hated. As for Lin Yanhua, the drunk he had hit with a brick was said to have become a vegetable. Lin Yanhua's parents found a lawyer for him, saying it was self-defense. But at this critical moment, someone released another video. It was Lin Yanhua hitting that drunk with a brick, after the drunk fell unconscious, and then he took the brick and hit him several more times. Once the video came out, it was no longer self-defense. Eventually, Lin Yanhua was sentenced to pay a large sum of compensation to the drunk and also had to serve 3 years in prison. The hardships I endured in my past life had all become his retribution. 18. A full month after this incident, Feng Li returned to school. Ours was a key university, and the graduation certificate held high value. Graduation was approaching, and I guessed that Feng Li couldn't afford to drop out. But when she returned to school, what greeted her were all kinds of rumors. One day when I was having lunch in the cafeteria, I saw her sitting alone. People around were whispering, and she seemed itched to bury her face in the plate. The same situation had happened in high school. Some people said that Feng Li was dating a small-time hooligan from another school, and everyone isolated her. During the free group selection period in PE class, no one chose her. At that time, I shattered the rumors and firmly took her hand, but at this moment, I just wanted to watch her get her comeuppance from a distance. Perhaps feeling that some people were going too far, Feng Li suddenly lost control. She stood up and threw the dinner plate on the ground, then cried out, "I wasn't raped by those drunks. They didn't touch me," a boy heckled. "Then what were you doing in the obstetrics department? Going there to have a hemorrhoid removed?" Everyone burst into laughter. Feng Li screamed, "The child is Lin Yanhua's, not that drunk's. I wasn't raped." As soon as these words came out, after a moment of silence, there were successive exclamations of shock. Then, those who knew about my relationship with Lin Yanhua all silently cast pitying glances at me. The corners of my mouth twitched. Having an ex-boyfriend was making me feel like I had a stain. Even the girl sitting across from me silently put the drumstick in her bowl into mine. "Eat more, you've been through a lot." 19. Later, Feng Li came to see me once, asking to borrow money for an abortion. She still had that pitiful look, with red eyes, showing up at the entrance of my community. Seeing me carrying fruits from afar, she ran over to help me carry them. I turned around and dodged. "Just say what you have to say." She didn't beat around the bush. Yuan. I know that what I did with Lin Yanhua was really sorry to you, but can you forgive me this time? I'll never snatch your things again. My parents found out that I'm pregnant and think it's shameful. They won't let me go home and won't give me money for the operation. Now I can only turn to you. The more I listened, the more something seemed off. "So you mean that my friend got pregnant with my boyfriend's child, and I'm supposed to pay for the abortion?" She froze, but the next second, her eyes turned red again. Yuan, I'm really sorry. I'm begging you. Just help me this one time." "No, thanks. And there's one more thing." I took out a piece of paper from my pocket and handed it to her. "These are the things you took from me over the years. I hope you can return them intact. If you can't, then I'll have to sue you." On it were items ranging from a few thousand yuan coat to a tens of thousands yuan bag that Shintingsi had bought for me. She said she would borrow them for a while but never returned them. Added up little by little, it was also more than 100,000 yuan. Feng Li's family was poor. Her parents were both street vendors. Lin Yanhua's family was well off. Before, she had probably made Lin Yanhua spend a lot of money on her by using her body. But now that Lin Yanhua was in prison, there was no one to clean up her mess. Feng Li took the paper and looked at it, then looked at me in disbelief. "Jiang Yuanqing, do you really have to be so ruthless?" I didn't know how to tell her that I was reborn, but I wanted to tell her in another way. I looked at her and smiled. "You know what? I had a dream. In the dream, I went to your birthday party. I was the one who entered the drunk, and then you refused to testify for me in court. I went to prison for 3 years. And you got married to Lin Yanhua and even gave birth to this child. Hearing this, Fang Li's face changed, but she forced herself to remain calm. How is that possible? How could I possibly refuse to testify for you? After knowing each other for so many years, I knew her well. During these days, she and Lin Yanhua must have also thought about what would happen if I had gone to her birthday party and if I was the one who had injured the drunk. Since she didn't admit it, I didn't want to entangle further. I picked up my things and turned around. You have a week to return them, otherwise, I'll start the lawsuit. After saying that, I ignored her pitiful pleas and turned to enter the community. Who would have thought that just a few steps away, the fruit bag in my hand was taken away? Thinking it was Fang Li, I turned around and made a taekwondo move. But the other person bent down and directly carried me on his shoulder. Only then did I recognize that it was Shintingsi. He was carrying me on one shoulder and holding the fruits in the other hand, looking in a very good mood. Why are you suddenly so sensible? Weren't you saying you wanted to be best friends with her for a lifetime before? Presumably, Shintingsi had heard everything just now, so I simply confessed, it's because of that dream. What else did you dream about? I dreamed that Mom and Dad cried so sadly because I went to prison, and I also dreamed about you. I dreamed that you cried so sadly too. Shintingsi's steps paused. He put me down, under the dim and ambiguous street lamplight. Our eyes met. So, you said you missed me that day because of this dream. Yes, not for any other reason. Perhaps the night breeze was too ambiguous, or perhaps his eyes were too gentle. I actually sensed something else. He had returned early because of my "I miss you." After getting off the plane, he didn't even go home but went straight to my school with his luggage, his classmates snickering, my eye dodging when I looked at him after puberty, perhaps because of experiencing the life and death separation in my past life. My courage suddenly grew at this moment. Shintingsi, do you think Mom and Dad will break my legs if I say I want to chase you? Jian Yuanqing. He suddenly became very serious. Who told you to say such things? I was frightened by his seriousness and looked at him cautiously. Why are you suddenly so serious? I just suddenly realized that I've liked you a bit all these years, but I always thought you were my brother, so I didn't have such thoughts. If you think it's impossible, then I just won't like you. Why are you so fierce? But he said, you can't just like me a little, you have to like me very much. Now we get along like family. But if we get together and then break up because you don't like me anymore, we will not only lose a lover but also our best family. So, you have to like me very much. Like him very much. Seeing me hesitate, he reached out and poked my forehead. I'll give you time to think it over. If you're sure, I'll talk to Mom and Dad. 20. At night, while my parents were asleep, I secretly slipped into Shintingsi's room. He was still sitting in front of the computer working. I directly sat on his bed. I want to ask you some things. Shintingsi was facing the computer, typing away. What things? When you were in your senior year of high school, what happened to that senior who gave me a love letter to give to you? Later, what happened between you two? I still remembered that at that time, I had some improper thoughts about Shintingsi, but everyone regarded me as his real sister, and many seniors even gave me gifts to ask me to pass on their love letters. The one I remembered most was the high school beauty. As an art student, she had long curly hair and was as beautiful as a princess. Standing next to her, Fang Li looked like a servant. I remembered it clearly. But Shintingsi looked at me blankly. Who? That school beauty, with long curly hair, as beautiful as a mixed-race girl. Don't remember. Me. I felt a bit secretly happy, but I still waved my fist at him. If I find out you're lying to me, you're in big trouble. After a while, I asked again, then when did you start liking me? I gradually liked you, he said. By the time I realized it, I already liked you very much. I was quite satisfied with Shintingsi's answer. I was still lingering in his room when Shintingsi suddenly said, I advise you to go back quickly. Before, when I regarded you as my sister, it didn't matter how you slept on my bed, but now that you said you like me, there are differences between men and women. I pouted. And at the door, I made a face at him. Hypocrite. 21. When the specified time came, Fang Li failed to return the things to me as promised. I had expected this. She was so vain that the valuable things she took from me were probably all resold by her. She came to plead with me pitifully, but I always stuck to my principles. I spent some money to find a lawyer and directly sued her. Another half-month passed, and Fang Li actually paid back the money. I was wondering about this when I heard my classmates gossiping. It was said that Fang Li had found a rich boyfriend. It was heard that he was quite old, with a beer belly and a receding hairline, and he even had a wife, but he didn't mind that Fong Li had someone else's child in her belly and even paid for her abortion, so Fong Li became a mistress. In our senior year, everyone was gradually going for internships, and I also moved out of the dormitory. The company that Shen Tingxi founded with his friends was getting bigger and bigger. He directly rented a villa outside and rarely went home, but when I moved out of the dormitory, he still came to pick me up by car, sitting in the passenger seat of his car. In late autumn, the ginkgo leaves on the road were spread out in a golden carpet. I turned around and held Shen Tingxi's hand. Shen Tingxi, I've decided. I like you very much and want to be with you for a long time. He was startled at first, and then he smiled at me. Okay, as for the hurdle of our parents, I believed that Shen Tingxi could solve it for me. In my past life, I was in a hurry and didn't notice that there was an extremely good person by my side who had always loved me. In this life, I will never let go of his hand again.